What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday night. So tonight I'm going to teach you common sense. What? You can't teach common sense? Well, I'm going to prove that wrong. Watch me. So how you guys doing? Welcome to the greatest show on earth. This is Booze and Biz. My name is Nick Glassett. Tonight I'm drinking beers. I got some Dos Equis, and then I got some light stuff on tap as well. But I'm going to drink beer while we talk about common sense here. I would love to know what you guys are drinking. Justin already told us he's drinking root beer, but what are you guys got on tap? You guys drinking beer? If so, what kind? Anybody got some rum? Yeah, let us know what you're drinking. I'd love to know what you guys are up to on these Wednesday nights. So last week, we talked about how to set your prices. Okay, a little reminder, the formula that I came up with to set prices correctly is comps plus difficulty times ambition. Okay, so, and if you want to know more about that, go watch last week's episode. But I didn't want to know if anybody did some homework and ran some comps to figure out their prices were a little jacked, or did they ponder their ambition, realize they were a little bit out of line with what they want to accomplish long term? Did anybody raise your prices, lower your prices? Did anybody remove like 6 fucking fees that they had in there? Hopefully so, because I hate fees. I don't hate fees, I'm anti-fee. But let me know in the comments what you guys thought last week. So let's see what people are drinking. So we've got beer. Oh, Michelob. Mark's got Michelob. Captain Morgan. There's the rum right there. Dave's got the Captain. Carter Darrington's drinking Sprite. Hey, if you're going to drink lemon lime soda, Sprite's the one, right? Moonshine. Yeah, somebody down by me got me drinking moonshine. Remy Martin. Let's go. Let's go. And somebody's drinking something called a dirty banana. I like that. Dave omitted deliveries for the year too. Delivery fee for the year. Love that, Dave. Being new, love that. All right. So real quick, just do me a quick favor. Subscribe to the show. Got to ask you to subscribe. So hit that button. And then let's get into the real show. Tonight's topic is, dude, it's common sense. So common sense is that thing that you supposedly cannot teach. However, as you gain more knowledge and experience on a subject, more and more things start to become kind of common sense. So that means, in my opinion, I think you actually can teach common sense to a degree. You can teach common sense to a person with common sense. Okay, so here we go. I've compiled a quick list of 29 common sense topics that I'm going to go over here with the intention of teaching them to you. And of course, no matter how long my list is, there's still going to be a ton of things that I miss, that I omit, that I skip over, that I forget about. So do me a huge favor. I'd be honored and privileged if you guys fill in the blanks for me when I'm done here. All right, so let's get into the list. Ready for this. Common sense item number 1. Answer the phone. I'm not getting off of it. It's number 1. Answer the phone. So in what universe do we freaking live in where a smoking hot lead that literally picked up the phone to call you is a burden on you? You should be running across your house, risking burning dinner just to answer the freaking phone. Or you should be what I call heavy metal shushing your kids, sprinting to the other room, to work on selling to the lead that's so hot. They literally want to buy it from you so bad. They did the unthinkable and they called you. Number 1, answer the phone. Number 2, common sense item number 2, trust your gut. You know it, so act on it. So you don't have to say, God damn it, I freaking knew it. Your intuition is one of the most valuable resources that you have as an entrepreneur and as a leader. Here's a little tip for you. Don't make moves when you're desperate, because you'll get burned, and you'll know that you were going to get burned because your gut told you that it was a bad move. Your gut knows when it's a bad decision. Listen to your gut. Common sense item number 3. Ideas don't pay the bills. Execution does. So go put in the work. So this is a cool little story. Uber was actually already invented when Uber was founded. It was called Magic Cab. Okay. One of those companies you've never heard of in your entire life. The other one crushed the entire industry and disrupted everything in its path. The idea, though, wasn't what was the goal. It was Travis of Uber. It was his execution that was the goal. So stop thinking like a revolutionary person and start acting like a revolutionary person. Ideas don't pay the bills. Common sense Item number 4, good help is hard to find. This has nothing to do with millennials or Gen Z. People have always been lazy and don't want to work. Shut up, Nick. These kids nowadays, they're just so entitled. And I know it for a fact because I posted on my Facebook about how entitled they are. And my post went viral because everybody on my entire friends list agreed with me. Look, I'm not saying there's not shitheads out there. And if that's who you're hiring and entrusting your customers to, then yes, it may appear that this young generation doesn't want to work. But the fact of the matter is that it's always been hard to find good help. That's why that's a cliche. Plus, this younger generation grew up in the internet era, and guess what they did? They watched bullshit artists sell them Instagram ads, telling them they can be a millionaire in 1 month doing FBA drop shipping from their mom's basement. They can't. So they think, though, that they can. They also have options like never before. Some of those options are let the government pay my bills. I do agree with that. Okay. But they have to be moved in order to work for you. Money is not enough anymore. They have to be inspired to come to work. So you have to be a leader and you have to be inspirational because good help is hard to find. Common sense item number 5, treat your employees like the family that they are. There was a time when the boss could like low-key abuse the employees. That's not cool no matter what era we're in, but the boss had the leverage because there just wasn't very many good jobs out there. But the times have changed. The economy was on fire from 2010 to 2022, and it's still pretty healthy to this day, okay? And during that time frame, the internet got to full scale. So there's basically a zillion jobs that they can go get. For God's sakes, Chick-fil-A went from a regular ass like fast food restaurant that sold chicken where like 5 people worked on a shift to a place that strangely went to like this out of body chicken experience eating there. I just still don't understand it, but they have like 65 young people working at all stores at all times. It's bananas. But the moral of the story is they can just leave and go get another job. So you have to treat people right or they will leave and leave you at a moment's notice. So treat the employees like the family that they are. Common sense item number 6, you have to teach your people how to do it right. Weird, but I can tell you this about teaching. So it's the number 1 way to raise your retention and increase your recruiting results. Here's why. Most people either A, want to be successful, or A and B, want to be successful and start their own business one day. So if you start teaching them the small little things that you do to set your business apart, and you do that constantly, they're going to be very engaged because they want what you have. So teach your people how to do it right. Common sense item number 7, your employees will never care as much as you do. This might not actually be common sense. I'm trying to make it common sense. Here's why. They don't own the business. They don't care about the business like you because they don't own it. The babysitter doesn't care about your kids the way you care about your kids. So stop expecting your employees to be 100% to your capability and realize about the best you can probably do is somewhere in that 80% range, all right? 50% is probably the starting point. So think about that. They're going to be at best when they start half of your capability, okay? But with that mindset, you can then go be a stronger leader because you can help them get up to 60, 70, 80, and then at 80, you're a happy camper. Common sense item number 8, it's all your fault. You made the hiring decision. You made the schedule. When somebody screws up, you caused it because you're the leader and it's your company. It doesn't matter. It's your fault. Doesn't matter. It's still your fault. You've got to hold the employee accountable for their actions. Yes, because it is a team game, but no matter what, it's your fault. That's not a scary thing, though. It's empowering. It means you can fix anything. It means you can improve everything, and you can be in total control of your results, not helplessly floating along like a feather in the wind to try and get out there and win. The guys forgot to bring all the blowers. Well, what kind of fail safe did you have in place to remind them of all the equipment they needed to grab? See, I told you, everything is your fault. Common sense item number 9. You don't have a business if you don't have customers. I know there's some crazy people out there. I know there's some dramatics. I know there's some needy ones. But guess what? The entire reason you started a business is for people. Now, entrepreneurship has gotten cool lately. So there's a bunch of ulterior motives that people also have. Escape the 9 to 5. Don't work to make the CEO rich. Build something for your family or to pass on to your family. All true, all good. Love all of those, okay? But the real reason you started a business is to solve people's problems well enough that they become your customer and in turn pay you for your services. Remember that when you have the needy, crazy one that needs to move the party for the 3rd time, it's not her fault, it's your fault. You started a business. This is your life now. Common sense item number 10. Give a kickback to the people that put you on early. Cool little story here. Jack Daniel's whiskey is only as popular as it is today because it's all Frank Sinatra drank back in the day. However, Jack Daniel's never paid him a cent. It's kind of a weird move if you ask me. Okay. You, my friend, have far less famous people that put you on in the beginning. It was probably your mom or maybe your neighbor or the buddy from the gym, whatever. But don't forget about them. I see so many entrepreneurs crying rivers of tears online and rage, typing in all caps, that their family doesn't respect them because they asked for a discount. Stop. Go cry somewhere else, please. You started something from nothing and made it successful. That is highly impressive. But the hookup that they want is coming from their connection to you from a pride standpoint, not disrespect. They know a guy, okay? They know a guy. That's you. They brag to their friends that they have a guy and you're their guy. Take pride in that. Give them a discount or don't. That's your call. I don't care. It's your business. Do whatever you want. But you should take care of the people that put you on early and helped you build it. Common sense item number 11. Learning is the gateway to success. You know I had to put my favorite one at number 11. The more you embrace learning, the more you will win. So find a way to get as much knowledge into your life and your brain as humanly possible, and you'll be setting yourself up for far more success down the line. This is books. This is groups or communities, Facebook groups. Booze and Biz. Here we go. You're here. Get more info. I put this show on my podcast. I put this show on my YouTube channel. And guess what? There's a million other podcasts out there that will also help you. So stop listening to those weird murder podcasts, and instead get some positivity and some knowledge into your ears so you can improve. That said, please hit the subscribe button now. I'm going to stall for you and take a sip of my beer while you guys on YouTube and the podcast subscribe, so I appreciate it. You guys are the best. Thank you. Common sense item number 12. You are what you eat. Your body is not replaceable. Trash in, trash out. Entrepreneurship is hard enough, dude. You don't need to be eating trash. Now, some beers, yes, bad for you. But I argue good for the mind, so in my head, it's a trade-off. McDonald's, not good for anything. Sugar, also not good for anything. Push-ups, great for you. Sitting on the couch and binge watching Friends again on Netflix or Hulu or wherever you watch it. I don't know. I don't binge watch things. Not good for you. Take care of yourself, okay? You are what you eat. Common sense item number 13. Dress to impress. If you're a bounce house operator, which pretty much everybody in here I think is, you probably wear running shorts, Crocs, and a dry fit shirt with your logo on. That is appropriate attire for what we do. But even in our somewhat goofy little uniform that we have, there is a ton of awesomeness. If everyone on the staff or on site has matching shirts, you instantly look very organized and very well put together, even if you guys do wear Crocs, okay? When I am out doing an in-person consultation at a $3 million home for my Christmas light business, it's generally still hot as fuck outside. So I'm in regular shorts, not running shorts. I put on some nice sneakers. I got a Let's Get Lit shirt on. I got a forward-facing let's get lit snapback on. I got a tape measure on my belt, and I got my notebook in my hand, okay? I also try to make sure my truck is clean, so I pull up, I look put together, okay? I don't dress that nice doing water slides because we get wet, we get dirty, and we get sweaty on each and every stop. But the clients all know that, right? So you just need to dress for the occasion. When I'm doing water slides, that hat might be backwards to give my neck some shade because I've been in the sun, but it's still a jump off hat, all right? How you look matters, so dress to impress. Common sense item number 14, advertising works. Now, to pay $600 a month for Google ads sounds super scary and sounds mega expensive. But that $600, when the ad is done properly, will make you $3,600. So you come out plus $3,000 of top line revenue. Do you have any idea what people spend on Super Bowl ads? And you do realize they keep getting more expensive every single year, right? And the companies just keep buying them like crazy. It's proof the ads are worth the money because advertising works well. Common sense item number 15. Social media is what everybody's paying attention to. If you're not on it, this is simple. You're losing ground little by little to those who are on it. Also, it's free, so why would you not be on it? Okay. Now, organic is a little bit harder to get business for your local company, and paid is an absolute beast. Okay. But don't outsource the organic to your younger niece. You need to know the platforms and the type of content that matters on those platforms now that you're a business owner. Social media will become your life to some degree, and it should, because that's where everybody's paying attention to. They're all looking at their phones and all scrolling on social media. The more you post, the more money you make. Common sense item number 16. For marketing to work, your customers need to be able to read it. Why in the hell the bounce house industry has the most busy logos and the most busy marketing, I'm not sure, okay? But just the spoiler alert here, you do not need a bounce house on the sign that goes next to the bounce house. Just a logo and a URL is good enough, or even better, a giant QR code with a small logo in the middle, but less is more. If you have a sign next to your bounce house, the bounce house is doing all the hard work for you. You don't need a busy ass sign to go next to the bounce house. You need a simple sign to go next to the bounce house. Now, if you were to go put signs on the road, which to my knowledge in the bounce house industry isn't done, but maybe you want to be a maverick and go try it. You need to do the exact opposite. It needs to be a picture of a big bounce house, and simple bounce house, but then just a phone number. No logo, no name, no words, no kids jumping, no palm trees, no sunsets. Maybe it says text me, okay? But big bounce house, phone number, okay? Make your marketing easy for a human to read so they can give you their money, okay? Small side note on this, some of the bounce houses in your guys' logos are extremely phallic. They look like penises. Common sense item number 17, take care of the money. The other main reason you start a business besides the customers is for the money. Now, no one wants to work as hard as we do for no monetary gain. So get yourself a set of softwares to keep track of the money, right? So inflatable office with a payment processor of Square, linked to your QuickBooks, outsourced to your accountant, okay? Once you've scaled a little, outsourced to your accountant, okay? You need to know your numbers, your top line revenue, how much money you've spent on marketing. In quarter one, I spent 9%. What your payroll percent is. Mine's sky effing high because of my salary. It's 46%, okay? What your bottom line profit is. Mine's not great because I've had a little bit of an aggressive Q1, so it's negative 11%, but we're not a quarter one business. It's not built for quarter one. Built for water slide season. We're coming in there. But you got to take care of the money. You got to know those numbers, right? Common sense item number 18. Don't pay cash. Finance everything, because paying cash wastes capital that you need to grow your business. I personally sunk a fat amount of cash into building a pool in 2021. 3 months later, the largest and most established business near me, bounce house business near me, came up for sale and I had no cash. Lesson learned the hard way. Now that that business name has been sold to somebody else and that business is now a massive competitor in my exact area, I get to sit in my beautiful pool, crying into my mojito, ripe with regret. Do not buy a truck cash. Do not prepay your landlord for an entire year. Finance everything so you have cash on hand to grow the business. Inventory purchases is the exception.
Do you think that's a good advice for a beginner to finance things?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Even like inflatables and stuff?
No, inventory, no. Cash on inventory, happy with.
So you're just saying like trucks and
yeah, like don't go buy a 2500 HD $90,000 truck because you've got $110,000 in the bank, right? Because now you don't have any money in the bank. Just go finance it. Okay. Now, I guess there's a caveat that, right, the Feds hiked the rates again today, hopefully for the last time, but another 25 basis points today. So the interest rates are brutal. So I would say don't buy the truck. I didn't. I was going to buy that truck I just said. I was going to go buy it. And then the interest rates I was like, no, thanks. And I'm not spending cash on anything big. I already learned my lesson. But you want to go finance trucks. You want to, if you can find a trailer, 50-50. I'd probably pay cash for a trailer because, right, most you're going to spend on a trailer. I should buy it closed, but $5,000. But yeah. Don't pay cash. Finance everything.
Yeah, Wesley, quit spending money.
Okay. Common sense item number 19.
Hey, Nick, sorry.
Use only credit cards. 2% cash back Capital One card buys you free trips to Mexico because you get 2% cash back on everything you spend. Do not use anything but credit cards. Okay. If you guys want to check out the 2% cash back Capital One card, you guys could do so. I'm going to drop my link in there because it pays me if you guys use it. And if you guys are going to sign up anyway, just freaking use my link so I get some money. That would be awesome.
This show is brought to you by Capital One.
No, it's brought to you by Nick Glassett. But how does Nick Glassett pay his credit card bill? I put everything on my credit cards.
Is that the best card that you've found that's like the best cash back? Or do you prefer cash back or like reward system?
When I'm done with my rant, Kevin will answer that question.
Okay.
Let him go through the rant and I'll answer that.
Yeah, Kevin will answer that. But I'll give you my quick and dirty answer is yes, I prefer that 2% cash back card because I don't like to keep track of all the stuff. What Kevin keeps track of is in my opinion, very impressive. I do not have the mental bandwidth to do it. So I take the easy way out, which is 2% cash back. I got one card for each business. Boom, quick and dirty, and I'm done. I'm out and I'm earning 2%. You can leverage your money even more than that, potentially way more than that, if you can keep it all organized. But yeah, Kevin will teach you guys all that in just a second. Common sense item number 20, pay off your credit cards before the interest hits you. Okay. Wasting money is not great. And interest is just you wasting money. Okay. Now, the caveat to that is if you have the opportunity to expand your business fast and have to do so on credit and won't make the money back in time to pay the interest off, okay, that's the one exception to the rule. However, you should never have an exception to the rule. Always pay off your credit cards before the interest ever hits you. Never have interest hanging out there. Common sense item number 21. Coffee is a gift from nature. Drink a shit ton of it and drink it black the way it was supposed to be enjoyed. Common sense item number 22. Coffee is overpriced, so stop buying $7 lattes. Instead, go buy a Keurig machine so you can save money to then scale your business. Now, please don't go buy the little pods that go in the Keurig machine. Not only are they awful for our environment because they're made of plastic, but they're overpriced. Go buy the refillable cup. You can pack of 3 of them on Amazon for like $7 and fill it with ground coffee. That one little one will last you like 2 years and you get 3 in one pack. Okay. Stop buying expensive lattes, but drink a shit ton of coffee. Common sense item number 23. Things are going to change. You have to adjust and pivot as the business landscape evolves. There was a time when naming your company AAA Auto was a smart move because it put you at the top of the yellow pages. So there's some people in this room that said, what the fuck are the yellow pages? Okay. SEO used to be about putting white words on a white background. That was the keyword you wanted to rank for over and over and over everywhere until Google updates and kills that move. Okay. A website used to make you look fancy. It's now the bare minimum for doing business. You have to have one to even play, right? If you don't have a website, you need one now. So please do me a favor, just send me a private message, whatever you want, Instagram, Facebook, I don't care. And just tell me that you don't have a website. I'm going to try and set up, I actually am already in the process of setting up a group call with a whole bunch of people that don't have websites so I can teach you why it's important. But website, you need one. Because things are going to change. Sorry. Yeah, number 23. Things are going to change. Common sense item number 24. Goals have to be obtainable. We all want to be a millionaire. But if that's your goal for quarter one this year, you're delusional. Think out your goals and then focus on, this is important, how to achieve them. I personally am not a big goal setter. I really don't ever set goals because they don't do anything for me emotionally. I can go write shit all over my bathroom mirror in a marker. Nothing happens. Okay. The action is where my obsession is. That's just go. Common sense item number 25. Electricity is scary and can kill you. Respect it and do it right. You don't know how to do it right? Go find out, please, even if you have to go to YouTube University and learn. Here is some quick hitters for electricity things you should not do. Electric items and water are not wise used together. So that is winches, pumps, submersible, non-submersible, rolling machines, etc. Okay. Other things that are important. No cords longer than 100 feet. Never use multiple extension cords together, right? One extension cord only. Never put multiple blowers on the same outlet. Plugs that aren't tight together will melt, especially in the hot summer sun. There's a whole thing on that whole topic. Go find it all out. Common sense item number 26. Read the instructions. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. The instructions literally tell you exactly how to do things. Common sense item number 27. Use the right tool for the job. A wrench is not a hammer. Channel locks are not a wrench. Okay, there's a camera. You just can't see it. Where was I? An Altima is not a Silverado. However, you got to do what you got to do in the beginning. So I respect that, right? But use the right dolly for your inflatables, aka an inflatable dolly. Okay. Use the right hammer for your anchors. Use the right anchors. The list goes on and on and on. Use the right tool for the job. Common sense item number 28. Buy once, cry once. Good equipment will stand the test of time. It's more expensive, but it will make you more efficient. And time is money. So a Rollzol will not only save you time, but it will keep you fresher because you're not lugging slides through the tall grass. So that way, when you get home, instead of taking a nap, you can work on the business a little more and have the energy to do so. And then maybe even go for a run. I don't know. A 16-foot trailer is expensive. The nicest one near me, Brody, can you be quiet a little bit? Thank you. The nicest one near me has dropped in price. It's now about $4,500. Okay.
Yeah.
That's super expensive. And if you only have 2 bounce houses, it may not make sense right now, but it future proofs you to buy one trailer instead of being like me and buying 4 along the way. And I overspent money. If I just would have bought the good one in the beginning, I'd have been better off. And finally, common sense item number 29, equipment is expensive. So take care of it. The more you take care of it, the longer it lasts and the more work it can do. If you abuse it, you have to either repair it or replace it. So you have less money for growth. And it also takes time to do that stuff too. So take care of your expensive equipment. Okay, there we go. Dude, it's common sense. It's 29 common sense business items to help you live a fuller entrepreneurial life. There we go. It says in my notes here that Nick takes big drink of his beer.
How many items are there?
That was more words in the opening than I've ever done, I think, ever.
All right, so I'm going to jump in now.
Let's go.
Because the whole common sense thing, actually, I was the one that forced you, kind of convinced you to do it.
Yes.
Because there's just way, and I don't know how to do like the screen where I could see everybody's faces at one time.
Oh, here, I got it.
I don't know how many newbies are in here, how many veterans are in here, how many people that are just of 1 year old companies. I just really don't know. Sadly, there's so many of the 1 year companies and less that don't take common sense into 50% of what they do. because we see it in the groups. We see the stupid post. We see the extension cord melting. We see the guy trying to put two horsepower blowers on a 3,500 amp generator and doesn't understand why it doesn't work. You know, we see people setting up on beach sand and they brag about it. We see people setting up in the mud and don't care, or don't put tarps down to take care of their clients, etc. So I have the whole list that Nick went through. And so I'd like to touch off on a couple things that, you know, a lot of us have full-time jobs and work with the inflatables. I have a full-time job and I have a full-time inflatable business. I work 7 days a week for the past 21 years. I don't know how any different not to. So I have one of these old things over here called an answer machine. And answering the phone is very true. So to us that are capable of answering the phone and we're at home, okay, so you're eating lunch or you're outside having a cold drink or whatever, your phone rings, answer the phone. Don't let it go to voicemail. I'll use myself as an example. Just 3 days ago, which would have been Sunday night, I didn't answer the phone on Sunday. I was out battling the rainstorms and I didn't answer the phone. And I finally returned the lady's call back. It was about 7:30, I think. I finally got back to the house and I called her. And the lady says to me, she says, I've called 9 companies. I got 13 in my area. So she called 9 other people in my area. I was the only person to return the call, even though I was 5 hours later than when she left the message. It was not only appreciated, I landed a $900 rental from being the only person to call back. If you have a voicemail and you come back to your shop or your office and you've got 5 calls, call them back. Read those messages, call them back. Even if the wife is saying dinner's coming in a half hour, call them back. It's really I never thought it was a big deal to call back, but as I went through my years of being in this business, I realized, okay, because guess what? If we don't call them back, they're calling somebody else. If we don't answer that phone, there's 10 other people in the phone book or on Google search that they can call. So definitely that's a pretty big factor right there. Trusting your gut, that's item number 2 on his list. And I'm not going to go through all of them, so trust me, so you guys don't need to hear that. I again can use myself as an example. Trust your gut not to do something. And going to the IAPA show, you better have a strong gut. You better have a strong will not to just buy because you walk up to something and go, wow, holy fucking shit, that is badass. Because that badass, you're going to be sitting up on the shelf like all that shit back there, not making you no money. So trust your gut. If you say to yourself, yeah, man, that seems badass, but yeah, I don't know if I can rent it. As soon as you say that to yourself, that right there is telling you, don't buy it. My son just bought a $60,000 truck. And when we went down there, it was just a couple weeks ago, I said to him, you look at this whole truck, you look at all the little items and electronical crap that you want in this truck. And if you say one of them, you know, I don't know about that. I said, we're walking. I said, because that's going to bother you forever. So you have to trust how you feel in here. It works. It really, really, really works. I mean, that's a big thing with buying items, you know, all the way down to whatever number that was, number 25 or 29, whatever, about buying items. Don't just buy something because everybody knows I'm a Jump Orange lover from beginning of their company till now. You may think something they have is like, holy crap, look at that new tropical slide they got. But then you may say to yourself, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna rent that. Don't buy it. Wait until you see something you can say to yourself, we can rent that. We can use that. I can make money with that. If you can't say that to yourself when you're looking at an item, don't buy it, man. I'm just telling you, I've been there in the whole $20,000. I know buying items that will sit and don't rent. So they rent 2 times a year. No, you want something to rent 15 times a year, 20 times a year. That's what you want to buy. So a lot of these other things that, he had went over, I kind of thought I would maybe try to talk to him first. A lot of it is not so much common sense. It's advice how to actually build your company good. Common sense comes with that. But if you don't take your time I wish there was some way we could send this list to you all to just look over, because there's a lot of good shit in here. A lot of stuff I wonder where the hell it came from, but that's okay.
My head.
I'm
Right
just
here.
so I'm going to jump all the way down to the dress to impress thing. He did hit it pretty good, and I would bet probably most of us have work shirts. Most of us have work attires. I've yet to see anybody that has all their people in matching shirts, matching shorts, matching shoes. Well, personally, that does happen. I think it's kind of goofy anyways. But matching shirts and clean matching shirt. There you go. Matching shirts and clean matching shirts is the ticket. I'm a little different, and I'm going to keep saying me because I'm going to use me as examples instead of trying to call somebody out and using them as an example. With my shirts, I probably have, I don't know, maybe 75 in the closet, and I take an extra for each guy when we go to work. It's in a bag, it's in the back seat, because on them days that it's 89% humidity in Florida and it's already 90 degrees with the heat index over 100, and Louisiana is probably the same, and other states is probably the same. What happens? We are wasted by the end of drop-offs. Our shirts are toast. So you don't want to go back out looking like that. So I give all the guys clean shirts. I'll actually take all the shirts. I take all the shirts and wash them, bleach them, everything. I don't even let them do it. I do it all. So they all get clean shirts, hot off the press when they come to work. Dress appearance is a big thing. I can't tell you how many in my ERS surveys. One of my questions in the ERS surveys that go out to every rental is about rate our appearance. I can't even tell you how many times I get things said like, these guys were clean, their shirts were nice, they dressed it appropriately, they weren't wearing crappy shoes, oddball things like that. All the time I get responses like that. So dressing and not just throwing on white t-shirt, you got blue jean shorts, your other workers got a yellow shirt with, brown shorts and flip-flops, and the other guy's wearing flip-flops and socks, and that's not dressed to impress. You kind of got to have some sort of a dress code, I guess, would be this. That kind of sounds rough, but that's true. Kind of have to have some kind of a dress code with not only with yourself, but for the rest of the guys, because those guys are representing the business that you're trying to build. And you also got to think of this, those guys that are wearing those things, also, you want them to care about your business the best that you can. So common sense comes with that on our part, not their part. Our part is the common sense to make sure that they all look good, they all look the uniform, they all look presentable. So when we walk into this, whether it's a $110,000 home or a $550,000 home, we're the same. You look the same, you act the same, everything all the way through. It just doesn't matter. No one, they can have $5 million or $5. They're still human and they're still the same as us. They just got a little more money. That's pretty much about it. I'm not going to touch up on anything on the advertisement stuff. I will talk about the it's your fault thing. And that's pretty common sense for us, the business owner. Don't give a shit about the workers. It's not their fault. It's always going to be us. I can probably say I asked the same question 10 times in a drop off and pickup day. Did you pick up all the hammers? Did you grab all the stakes? Did you get the extension cord? Consistently, because if you don't, guarantee you, it might only be a stake left, but that stake will get picked up by somebody's lawnmower and we're gonna get a call. So common sense for us is to make sure it's not our fault and try to make sure everything consistently runs as smooth as possible, which we all probably should know this. And some of you are probably going, Jesus, Mark's just, saying the same shit that we already know. Well, that's what this whole show's about, is to try to reiterate with people what is and what isn't, in our opinion, the best options at this point to tell you what to do. So, the don't pay cash, I kind of got a little confused on that because I finance what I have to, but I pay cash for all equipment, whatever it may be, for the business.
No.
If it's a bounce house, I don't finance any, I don't finance any bounce houses. I don't finance my dolly. If I can't buy it, I don't get it.
I agree.
Finance the truck.
I even bought my truck cash.
Anything for the shop. I finance
Right.
anything that I need.
I swear.
Can I talk about this when you're done?
Outside of buying inflatables. And it goes to using a credit card. Somebody asked about 2% credit card profit or something. And I'm pretty sure Kevin's going to jump in here, which is fine.
Oh, I'm
He's
100%
smart
going
on it. I mean, he knows probably no more than any one of us in here. But I have American Express Business. I get 2% back too. And I use it as much as I possibly can. I use it on gas. I use it on food. I use it on repairs. I use it on anything that I possibly can. But when I buy inflatables, if I buy them at the show, I pay cash for them. If I can't pay cash for them, I don't buy them. If I buy them from, say, the website, they want your credit card. I'll pay for it with the credit card. You can't obviously pay cash for it that way. Credit cards work on that. It might not work for everybody the same way for me, but I like doing it the way I do it. It seems to be working fine for me. And, so I'm not going to steer anybody away from using credit cards. I think you need to have them. I don't know if I believe in having a gas credit card and then another credit card for other things. I like to use the same card for everything. So I just have like one card for the Moon Man. That's kind of the way I've done it. I don't know no better. I'm not a financial guy. Don't know, can't answer it. The electricity thing that Nick had touched off about is a huge thing. 90% of the homes we go into have 15 amp breakers. Even today, that's what codes are almost everywhere. There might be codes somewhere out west that's got to be 20 amp breakers. I don't know. Florida, 15 amp breakers all the way. New Jersey, 15 amp breakers. They don't have to put in 20s. 15 amp breaker, one blower. That's, you put a 2-horse on there, you're at about 78% of that capacity. You go any more, you're over 80%, you're going to fry something. You're going to pop the breaker. You might burn the cord to the motor. You might burn out a motor. Use common sense with electricity. Water. If you think it's going to rain, every blower on the top has some sort of a little crown of some sort. Take that extension cord and put it on it, plug it there, and it's hanging. So if it rains, it stays out of the water, stays up in the air. Water and electricity is the absolute worst that we could ever compare with or work with, on the inflatable thing. It also stretching the extension cords. Nick was saying, don't ever extend more than one cord. That's absolutely correct. I see too many times these people got 14.3 cords out there, and it's like I want to just choke myself because they say, oh well, all the bounce house blowers come with 14.3 motors or extension, the extension cord on the motor. Well, that's true. But if you take a 14.3 cord 100 feet from the original plug-in outlet, by the time it gets down to that motor, plug, and then take that other 20 feet to the motor, you probably drop down to probably 75% of the capacity of that breaker right there. It's going to burn out your motor, could start a fire. I've had a blower catch on fire because the people plugged in more stuff to outlet after I left and called me. My entire American bounce house smelt like smoke, where the whole spindle burned out, shot black smoke all through the inside. I threw the bouncer away. I couldn't even clean it. I just could not get the smell out. It was disgusting.
Jeez.
So you need to be very careful with your electricity and how you guys do electricity. Too many people, I see people posting pictures where the cords are laying across the ground and they're in puddles. I see it posted in the groups. I mean, we all see stupid stuff like that. You really need to take control of how you would do it for your own home and work it that way. At least that's what I say. And then we talk about the employees real quick, and then I know Kevin's going to jump on my ass about what I said about the credit card. I honestly, Kevin, don't know any better than what I just said. That's the way I've always done it, and that's, so I'm not trying to lead anybody the wrong way.
I totally understand.
Common sense, and here's the thing with common sense. Workers come to work for us, and I would say 7 out of 10 either don't have common sense or they don't give a shit to have common sense. I mean, there's very few workers that you get, and you will get them. I'm not saying you don't get them and you can't get them, that will come to work and have common sense. When I say common sense is getting a little parched there. Sorry about that. Common sense to me is, here's a little sledgehammer. Don't look at me and say, what am I supposed to do with this? The sledgehammer, common sense, the person should know, we need to hammer them anchors in. Common sense would be, okay, we got a dolly, we have no anchors on it, let's put anchors on the dolly. These are worker common sense, not us as adults or as owners. Well, as adults, owner, yes. Because half the times the kids are younger than us that work for us. Most people that work for us don't have common sense. Don't think that bounce house is supposed to face their back porch. So these parents and grandparents can sit on the back porch and watch their grandkids and great grandkids in the bounce house. But instead of that bounce house pointing right at it, well, you know what? Ah, hell, it's just pointing a little bit this way. It don't matter. That's not common sense. Common sense is turn the bounce house so it faces straight to the party. That's common sense. Common sense is you got a slide coming down, facing south. Pull your anchors a little bit back towards the north because the slide is coming down. It's putting force that way. If you put the anchor straight out, the slide's going to move about a half a foot by the end of the party. Might not sound like a lot, but it puts a lot of extra stress on your anchor points. A lot of extra stress on it. Common sense is your people working for you running the water hose to the water slide. Let's just pull some bitch right out. It's all curly. You know how water hoses are curly and just laid across the road or the grass. And okay, well, that's a trip hazard. Your workers need to have common sense that we got to lay that flat. We got to push it out to the side, maybe go around the bush so it's not where kids are going to be. And the extension cord that we're bringing off of the back deck, well, we can't just leave it there for the people to trip on. We got to push it up against and run the perimeter of the house and put a rug over it by the doors. People don't trip on it, but workers don't think like that. It's, that's our responsibility. Where it comes into, it's your fault to make sure that the people have common sense to do that. Even taking care of your vehicles, arranging your vehicles when we, the owners, are doing the paperwork. You don't want your two guys just, standing around vaping on their pens, leaning against the trailer. No, common sense. Hey, go in there, get the dolly ready for the next rental. Common sense, teach them common sense to go in, make sure we got the extension cords for the next one. All that stuff, it sounds like, okay, well, you're just teaching them how to do the job. Well, you are. But like Nick said at the very beginning, I think it was probably one of the best lines he said, common sense is very hard to teach, but we can show it. And I think we all have to do that with the workers, no matter who the workers are. Unless they become ventured workers. Like I have a guy right now that works for me that I literally just need to tell him to come to work at 9 o'clock in the morning and I can leave. And he knows I got to get these 2 slides out and clean them and dry them before Mark gets back. I don't have to do anything. But he was raised with common sense. It's a big thing, guys. Common sense is one of the biggest things touch off with me in this entire business. It irks me to listen and see what people say in these groups and some of the most, I have to say, retarded ways of doing things when I could tell you veterans are sitting there cringing just listening to it. It's just, you've got to have common sense in this business because common sense follows safety. You don't do things common sense, safety, you're not going to do it correctly ever. And I think that this is a really good item to have to talk about tonight. I don't know how much we can really go into it with, but as far as the coffee thing goes, dude, I don't even know what coffee tastes like. I'm 59 years old and I've never had a cup of coffee, so
No.
I can't even tell you what it costs. I've never even smoked a cigarette, so I can't even tell you.
I've had some coffee, but primarily because Duncan always messes up my tea and gives me coffee.
Yeah.
Stop buying this
So I
stuff.
just wanted to touch off on a few of those things. There's a couple other ones that I would like to talk about, but I think it's we as adults, most of us, I'm sure have our own home or rent a place, or we have a family, or we have monthly bills. There you go. That's a good way of putting it. We all have monthly bills. It's a good idea to make sure you pay off those bills on them credit cards every month, and don't let that extra money get accrued on and go to the next month. This is me. Kevin's probably going to jump in and correct me.
Can I talk about the finance stuff now that you brought that up?
Yeah, that I would like to do.
The first one I just want to touch upon is like the truck. Freddie had mentioned. So I had gotten a brand new truck, and this only applies to people, in I guess my case and Freddie's case, where we could buy the truck. I don't really recommend people just go out of the way and invest in a very expensive truck if they don't actually have the money to pay for it. But in my case, it's like I got it for 2.9% interest rate. This was in July. Right now, I have no desire to pay it off because right now, me leaving that money in the bank, I'm getting about 4% interest. So I'm actually getting money from just leaving it in the bank. Now, that doesn't normally happen. It just so happens interest rates is rising. But the other side of it is, rather than using that cash towards the truck, I know I can make more money if I invested it into multiple units. So I'm gaining more money from investing in something else than I would with the 2.9% interest. So when it comes to investing in things, I always think like, am I going to get a higher return on investment if I put this money towards something else than I would for this 2.9%? Now, if it was paying credit card at like 25%, then I would be like, no, there's no way in hell I'm gonna get that without risking things. So that's the whole my idea on the truck. The other thing with the don't pay cash, I have like a few points with that. It's like, if there are no processing fees to use a credit card, don't pay cash. If there are processing fees, but they are below the cashback or points percent that you are getting, don't pay cash. If the processing fees, happen to be higher than your cashback percentage, but you are confident you can get more value with the points towards the things you care about, don't pay cash. And what I mean with that is, say I get 3% on using my Chase card, or even like 2%, and the fee is like, no, say I get 3% back and the fee is 3%. On paper, it looks like it's netting zero, but I know if I transfer that to, say, Hyatt, I can easily double, triple, or quadruple the value. And that's towards travel, which is something I'm passionate about. So I know I can get more. Now, that's a little more complicating, but I know if I use my Chase cards, I can get more than that percentage. And then the other thing is, if you're actively achieving a sign-up bonus, absolutely do not pay cash. What I mean by that is like, if say the Chase Inks that I've posted, you spend 6,000, you get 750 to like $900 cash. That can then, or instead of cash, I can use it towards travel, which can go as high as 3,200 or more, which I've already done on like 5-star resorts. So to me, that 3% processing fee means little if I'm getting like $900 for that same amount of money. Now, when to pay cash is if you are using a cashback only card, say like the Capital One Spark, and the cashback you'll get is less than the processing fee, and you're not utilizing some 12-month no interest deal, then yes, pay cash, because it doesn't make sense to pay a 3+% processing fee if you're only getting 2%. Does that kind of make sense there?
Yep. And then the other thing I was going to say, to answer, I think it was Freddie's question, maybe, but the reason that you don't pay cash for the truck is because it's a depreciating asset. So you go put 50 grand into a truck because you don't want a truck note. I understand all the logic behind that, and it makes sense as an employee, just not as a business owner. As a business owner, you need capital to grow your business. So the $50,000 is more valuable to you to invest into your business than in the truck that as soon as you take a left turn, it's worth 45 or whatever. So if you put that same amount of money, right, you're not going to go put $50,000 on new inflatables, but let's just say you are. You're going to put $50,000 on inflatables. Those are all appreciating. Like, they're making you money. They depreciate in value as they get used, yes, but they make you money, whereas the truck doesn't do anything other than is a new truck. So that's why you don't want to go sink cash into those goofy depreciation. Like my pool, that's the stupidest thing ever, especially because I had 3% financing available to me. You know what I mean? So I went and sunk all that money into the pool and then couldn't buy Gary's company. You know what I mean? Like it was silly.
Can I talk about the truck?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was probably on a hunt for a truck for about 4 months. And obviously we all see the rising of everything, especially trucks and especially used trucks. I work in the auto body industry, so I was able to watch this crazy pandemic of price increasing in interest and the pricing of cars and trucks. So my whole thing, when I sat back and I thought, okay, I need a truck. One, I would have never bought my truck if my Tahoe, I was spending about $50 a week on my Tahoe on the amount of leaks that it was doing. So that right there, $50 a week, that's $200 a month. I'm losing money every single day. And I already spent $200. It was like $225 on pressure cleaning somebody's driveway because I stained their driveway on a delivery. Totally my fault. Then me and my wife, we talked about it, and I highly recommend anybody making big decisions, talk to whoever is your partner. Talk to my wife. This is what I need. The truck goes down, the company goes down. There's no questions. I don't have another car. So she's like, so we went shopping. Everything was stupid. And I'm a total 100% Chevy or Toyota fan. I won't buy anything else. So everything was stupid. I wanted the brand new Tundra, but they're talking about an extra $15,000 on top of the sticker price. Wasn't gonna happen. I am not buying a $50,000 car for $75,000 or $65,000. It ain't happening. So looked at my finances, got 10 grand in my personal bank, got 10 grand in the business bank. I got 10 grand in the oh my God, we're in deep shit. We need to fix something. And I have 30 grand stacked on what's coming in. And then I have a hidden 30 grand that only me and my wife know about. And now all you guys know about.
I would really not be talking like that, Freddie. I'm sorry, Freddie.
Well,
Freddie.
I also
Freddie,
have really big guns. And
Freddie.
yeah.
I would really, really not discuss that like that.
Well,
So you got money to buy the car. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So we went on Marketplace. And I found a 2016 Toyota Tundra with 63,000 miles, and the guy wanted 30 grand. So I went to his house and I knocked him down to 26. He took it. I didn't want a truck payment. One thing I hate is payments. I bought it. My thing is, if you have the money and you have a safety net, then you're good. Spend the money. I understand the whole financing thing and holding on to your cash, but if you have enough to where in case something were to happen that you're able to get out of a hole really quick, spend it.
But Freddie, another reason to keep cash is that like it's also a safety net for you. Like if shit hits the fan, I'll destroy my credit if shit hits the fan. But like I would rather have the money on hand to like utilize myself, in my opinion. Also with the buying the truck versus like cash in general, it also depends on the interest rate a person's gonna get. So like my Highlander, I got 1.9. I hated the fact that I put 20K down on that because it's 1.9. Like I regretted that. The Toyota Tundra, it's 2.9. That's like nothing. Now, if I have people, like I have friends where like they get interest rates at the 18%, hell no, buy cash. Because that doesn't make sense. Like anything above, heck, even like 6%, I probably wouldn't do for vehicles.
Yeah,
which
that's why I
might
didn't
be
buy
where
the
it's
truck.
at.
Yeah, because it was like my white Silverado is 2.99. That's why I still have the note. Like it's just like the interest is so low.
Nothing.
Yeah, there's no point to go get out from under the payment because the interest is so low, it doesn't matter. But like
I did want to
now,
Oh, go ahead.
it's like 6. It was like 6.25 was the best anybody could get me. And when I bought my Silverado at 2.99, they tried to sell me 2 trucks. Like they run my credit. They're like, "You sure you don't need 2 trucks for your business, sir?" Now it's like brutal.
Something that I think is really important is there's always another opportunity, because I bought my truck cash 10K and then another set of inflatables on top of that, 20K all in, right? A month later, my truck gets totaled by a driver running a light, and I don't have collision, stupidest decision of my life. So then I'm shelling out another 10K to fix it, right? And I had the opportunity to buy the truck 10K in cash. And what I wish I would have done is I wish I would have waited, because there's always another opportunity out there. There's not, oh, this is the one, I'm going to jump on this one right away, because there's going to be no other opportunity. And I think it's really important to be mindful that there's always going to be another opportunity to buy a truck and not make rash decisions just to sink money into something. Kind of like Nick's point there at the beginning of buying something, make sure it's meaningful and make sure it's lasting. Just don't buy something to buy something. So it'll get you so far. Just my 2 cents on that topic.
Yeah, and I don't think you did the wrong thing by buying the new truck by any means. And truck payments do suck. You know what I mean? So if you can pay cash for a $26,000 truck now with interest rates the way they are, like that's arguably, I think, actually a good move. That's what I would say.
Well, like what he just said was, don't make a rational decision. I waited 4 months.
Yeah, I don't think you made a rash decision. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff was happening that I had to make. I had to gear myself some way to get out of my Tahoe.
Right.
Like I could have put another 3,000 to fix it, but then how long is that going to last?
Freddie, you getting rid of that truck makes total sense. I would
Yeah.
have done the same thing. And dealing with cashier's check and stuff gets complicating anyways, because you bought it from a third party or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little harder that way. I did want to quickly touch upon which credit card to get. Someone had mentioned. As much as I cannot vouch for Capital One, and the reason why I can't vouch for Capital One is their business cards report to your personal credit. And one of the big parts of having a business card is that it does not affect your personal credit. I could have like 200K in business credit card and go get a mortgage, and the banks would have no idea I have it. But if I had it, say, on the Capital One with no interest or whatever, they would see it, and that would count towards the debt to income ratio. Not to mention banks like Chase, they're very strict with their rules of getting approved. One of their biggest rules is their 524 rule, which is they don't approve you if you have more than 5 personal credit cards within the last 24 months. And unfortunately, business cards like Discover and Capital One, they count towards that. And Chase just has way too many good credit cards to affect your approval. So like I always recommend Chase because of that, and because they have very good sign up bonuses. But I always say get Chase first, go through the Chase ecosystem, and then get whatever the hell you want after that. So Nick,
Yeah, I have
you should get a Chase card and then put those referrals out.
Yeah, I had the ink. I got the ink.
Refer your ink.
Yeah, and then
Because
I'd
even
say
the
my-
1.5, that 1.5 unlimited for the ink,
yeah,
you will for sure get at least double the value if you put it towards travel. So it's as if it's actually 3%.
yeah,
Like
that's-
you'll
yeah.
always get more, you'll always get double it. So that 1.5 to me, I value it as 3%.
I need to outsource it to my wife because she's good with the finances and she's the one that likes to travel. She kind of takes me along with her. So, but I mean, we're spending all my points of the Capital One on travel. So. All right, that was cool. All right, what other guys? What other stuff you guys got? You want to talk about? You want to bring it up?
What happened to the screen here? Why are we in like? Did you change the screen mode?
Yeah, where it's like everybody.
No, I'm seeing like 4 screens here.
Oh, I didn't do that. I'm good. I ain't that good.
All right, there you go. All right, I got it back. I don't know.
I put so I put out a super fast impromptu blog post on my personal website while Mark was talking of the whole entire list. There's definitely some formatting stuff that's kind of goofy and some spelling errors and all sorts of stuff. But I put the link in the chats there so you guys can go see the whole entire list. It's written for me, not for you. So, but you guys could see the whole list because I put the list in the chats, but then I quickly published that while Mark was talking and dropped the link in there so you guys can go see the whole entire show.
Only on beer 2 there, Zach.
You got 4 screens though.
I did. I don't know what the hell I clicked on. I'm old. You guys leave me alone.
That's funny.
It was actually pretty cool because I could see 2 of you.
2 of me is better than 1. I told you that the conversation would be continuing to go here. So while it's not, let me kick back over here and see
You know I can keep talking about it, but I'll keep
the finance. It's good stuff, but like I said, it's just like it's always worn me out. Like when I was younger, I had no credit cards. I thought credit cards were bad, so I was highly mistaken. And then when I figured out they were good, I'm like, I can't. Like my brain can do 40 things at once, but like the keep up with the credit card thing monthly is just like my hands turn backwards and my brain turns off. I have no idea why. It's totally strange.
No, I definitely do it more than I would necessarily recommend people unless they actually truly want to literally travel for free.
Yeah, the travel's cool. The travel's cool. My wife's best friend has all sorts of crazy travel perks and credit cards or whatever, and she goes, not so much anymore, but like pre-COVID, she was in a different country every single month. It was wild.
Yeah, because
It
to
was
me it's
super
like the effort it takes to keep track, which literally I just have like a spreadsheet that if my bills due for May, I make sure in April that it says yes for each of the credit cards. Like I make sure in April that for May it says yes for each of the credit cards so that I never miss anything. Not to mention you can put auto payments on it too, so that you never get affected there.
Right.
But it's really, if you can do the sign up bonus and then pay it off right away, then you don't have to really deal with that credit card.
Yeah, that's
how
what
I
I've
look
always
at it.
done historically. This year I've been rather aggressive because I have two pieces of the jump off, right? I have the store and I have the rental side, and both live under the same umbrella. And my accountant and my CPA said to keep it that way. So I've been aggressive in growing both. So the first ever interest payment I've ever made my entire life was last month, just because I over leveraged my credit card on purpose, because I know it's going to pay dividends down the line to invest in everything. But it was like, I saw the number and it wasn't huge, but I was just like, oh,
You put that on your Capital One?
it's on my Capital One right now. Yeah.
Should have got an ink. At least it would have been 12 months, no interest.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was like. That's why I saved the ink little pamphlet, because I don't have anything I want. Well, no, that's a lie. I have a lot of money I want to spend to continue growing the business.
And the funny part is with the so people think that you can only get one card for each, but the good thing with business cards is I have each ink on my social security number and for my LLC. So I have like two of the same inks. Like I have two of each of them. I have two of each of them for me, and I have two of each of them for Sherelle. And we've accumulated like well over like 1 million points that we could travel for at least one week per year at a 5-star resort for free for like a decade.
That's
just
awesome.
just from this last year of investing in inflatables. And that's not even all the points I got. Like I have a ton of Amex and all the other ones. This business is very expensive, and a lot of it can be spent with credit cards. In my opinion, if the banks, so when we put money in the bank, that bank, if we put $1,000 in the bank then turns like $950 of that and goes and loans it out and makes a shit ton of money on our $1,000. Like if we all were to go to the bank and try to withdraw our money, they don't have it because they're leveraging our money. So why don't we leverage the bank's money when we can? Is how I look at it. If they're going to pay us all this money to use it on things we were going to buy anyways, might as well do it, especially if it's not that much of an effort, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I 100% agree with that. Yeah. When my wife used to keep way too much money in her Venmo, and our finance guy finally told her, he's like, that like all the money in the Venmo ecosystem is used to leverage loans. Like they're literally using all the money you have in there to go make more money for themselves. I was like, thank you, Jared. Please transfer that, babe. Get it out of there.
Which actually brings up another point. For people that have money in, say, like credit unions, savings and credit unions, where you're getting paid 0.05% interest rate, get it out of it. Put it in like Capital One 360 or any of them, really. Just look it up. You can get like 3.5%, 4%, and it adds up. There's just, to me, there's no point in getting only 0.05% when you can get 4%.
Yeah, I'm looking at doing some of that. So our money's in a credit union, my credit union that I've had since I was a kid. It's still in Salt Lake City. I love them so much I like won't switch. But my local bank, the Jump Off and Let's Get Lit Bank, have some crazy, I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but they have a CD you can buy right now that's crazy high. And so I've got a meeting with them next week. I'm like, I'll just move all the money that I have.
Hey, Kevin. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you text or message me what you just said? Because we're running into some money in a little bit, and I don't want it sitting around doing nothing. I want to invest it, but I don't know. Like I've read up in Roth IRAs and all this other crap, but it's just all Chinese to me.
Well, that stuff, I'm not a financial advisor, so I should not be advising stuff like that. That I would reach out to someone if you're trying to do stuff like that.
Freddie, my guy is certified to do Florida. The guy that does all my finances, my financial advisor. He's been on the show multiple times. His name's Jared. I'll tell him, just DM me your phone number and I'll send it to Jared. Jared will call you and He'll at least talk to you about it. Like he's not like super weird and salesy or anything. He'll just talk to you about it.
Okay, cool. I'll do that.
With that being said, park your money in something that at least gives you more than 3% interest back, in my opinion.
Yeah. We give not all of our money to Jared, but like most of it, just like here, Jared, here you go. And then he's got it all, whatever, set to our risk appetite and blah 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 blah, all that fancy dancy stuff.
Yeah, that's on the investment. This is more like savings, like whatever you have in savings, just throw it in something that's giving you 3% plus, while you then think about where to invest it.
Somebody earlier said they were drinking moonshine in the chat, and I don't think they're in here anymore. Amazing Amusements. I don't think it's in here. That's what everybody was drinking. They said apple
That was
pie.
me.
No, but somebody said they're drinking apple pie. Which
Oh.
is moonshine.
Yeah.
Apple pie is good shine too.
Hey, what's the Capital 360? What's that about?
Go ahead.
It's
Kevin.
just their savings account. So Capital One 360 savings account. I forget what they're at right now, but I think they're above 3.5. But there's other banks like Ally.com's another digital bank. I want to say even Amex has it in the 3.5 for savings. I don't know if necessarily business savings, but personal savings is high in the percentage. But you can
Yeah,
certainly look it up.
I need something for personal savings. My money just sitting in the credit union too. It's not like
Oh.
getting.
I'm telling you, you'll see those go look at your credit union right now. It'll say like you just received $0.01 in interest. It's insulting.
It is brutal.
But I did because Capital One used to be like 0.5%, and then randomly, like over the summer, like I'd be getting like $1 or whatever savings, depending on the savings account. And then all of a sudden it's at like $15, $20 like each month. It's like, oh shit, where did this come from? And it's because like they've jacked up the interest rates.
I just messaged my cousin who's into financing up in New York, and she said Capital One is 3.75 to 4% right now. That's considered a high yielding account at Capital One that he was talking about. I think it was Kids Jump or Kirk's Jump asked the question. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, and if anyone has any credit card related questions, seriously, send me a message, because I know like all the little nuances of like pretty much all of the different banks, that I can tell you whether I think you can get approved or not, or like, what cards I would recommend and stuff, because there is quite a lot to it. And I've done all that
We've been
research.
trying for 3 years to get a credit card, and it just doesn't happen. 3 years, and it just doesn't happen. We've shown our bank statements, everything, and it just doesn't happen.
Like no credit card at all?
None at all whatsoever for the business. None. Myself, yeah, I have like 6 of them I use for the business, but none are given towards the business. And there's 3 years, EIN number, Brad's and Dunn Street number.
What are they saying to you? What is it even saying in the?
They just said, no,
decline?
as of right now, you're not approved. You're not approved. You're not approved. Like, all right, thanks a lot.
And who have you applied to?
Capital One, all of them really. And I just keep getting the nod. We keep getting the nod. So all of them.
Send me a message, and you can give me a little more detail on that, and I can see if there's like a strategy you can do.
And the bank statements are great. They just don't approve us. We're like, all right, whatever. Cash is king, I guess.
There might be something else that's up. Like I said, reach out to me and we can talk more about that, because I would need more personal details to kind of figure that out.
My one buddy found a freaking dude in Maine with a house in his name. You never know what the fuck's going on.
Someone has a house. What did you say?
I don't know, but he's hilarious.
My buddy found a house in his name. Like a whole house. Then some dude stole
That's fucked up.
Your buddy doesn't check his
fraud.
credit, because the moment I get any inquiries, like I see it. So like
I know.
mortgages don't happen instantly. Like there's a process.
All I'm trying to say
It's
is
approval
like,
process.
He's an idiot. I know that.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I'd like to look
He
at the
he
word.
just doesn't actively
yeah.
look at his credit.
Credit karma, people. Credit karma.
Got
Free.
bad credit.
I would do like Experian. Credit Karma isn't as accurate as say like Experience.
But it's
Or
just easy. That's why I tell people to do it. Like, it's just easy.
it'll give you the general idea, but the other one is a little more accurate.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Granted, if you apply for mortgages or car, they kind of do like their own little reporting that's more geared towards whatever they're looking at. Like car, it's more towards like your car history plus credit history. So the numbers will fluctuate. But you get a general idea. Plus or
Yeah,
minus
right.
20 points.
Did you guys have a favorite of the common sense thing? I feel like it was like a low key.
Yeah, I'd like
hit.
to get back to that.
Yeah, I
It
feel like
was too long.
it was like a low key hit, and I was a little like Mark, when I messaged you that, like, that's when I made the decision, which I believe was this morning at 5 a.m. I was like, we're doing common sense. That's what we're doing.
Well, I'm going to touch on. I'd like to touch up on something else that I was just looking at.
No.
Item number 5. What do you? I don't think there's too many people that have like more than 3 people that work with them doing bounce houses that are newbies, or even ventured people. I try to keep it simple. I'm on every drop off and every rental, so usually 2, maybe 3 at the most people I have with me. But your item number 5 there was treat your employees like their family. You could take that 2 different ways. You could take it, do I treat them like their family, like they're part of my family, like they're my kid? Do I treat them like they're part of the family, like the business family? I do both. A lot of these guys that come to work for us, they got issues, they got problems, they got family issues, they got personal problems that they're dealing with. It's not just the people coming to work and, hey man, they shouldn't have no issues at all. They need to come to work and represent our company, and that's all there is to it. Well, it's not that. I mean, I got 2 guys. One guy is a really good guy now. The other guy, it's Gavin and Daryl. Okay, Daryl was my first guy, and he came about and he decided at 20 years old, well, I can make more money selling something else part-time than coming to work, and Justin's probably holding it in his hand right now.
Crack or weed? No, I don't have any weed.
And then Daryl, he had his own problems. His mom was divorced. The dad left him when he was like 9. They're grown up in low income, struggling. He brings in Gavin. Gavin's this little skinny string bean. And I mean, when I say skinny string bean, he's 20 years old. If he is 105 pounds soaking wet, that's a lot of weight. But then, I find out Gavin's a good worker. So you start treating these people like, hey, they're more than come to work, and they're work guys, and they're people. They're people on the job. You treat them, I want to say respect, but also friendly respect. Like, you want them to kind of treat you the same way you're treating them. You hear that all the time with people, but it's hard to do. So Gavin comes to work, and I'm thinking, well, this kid ain't going to be able to push up a freaking bounce house. Forget a combo. Well, it turns out Gavin has taken over the lead position in the company as the worker. Daryl now has went to the backside because, he's got his own personal problems at home. I try to deal and help him with it, and treat him like he's part of this company, but yet he sees that bigger picture of what the weed can make him, and he's kind of backed off. So Gavin's been the main person. So when it comes to this, treat your people like family, Gavin gets, my wife, she just made a huge pot of chili. We know him and his dad are struggling. She's a loser, homeless person out in the woods on dope. So they're struggling. So she made this huge pot of chili. Boom, there's a big bucket, a big Tupperware dish for him and his dad. When he left the other day, she come out here, handed it to him. The kid was like ecstatic. I've given him shorts, things to help him out. You know, I give him advice, not business advice. I talk to him like we want them to feel welcome here and come back and talk personal with them. And it works. You know, you just can't. I mean, we all want to have the position where we just tell people, hey, you guys, you 5 guys are coming to work. This is what you're doing. I'm going off and doing this. You guys go take care of the business, blah, blah, blah. You're always going to have those employees that they don't give a shit. They don't want to come back. They don't want to do all that extra stuff. They want to talk on their phone while somebody else is setting up stuff. But if you treat them like, and it's little extra things that don't cost nothing. I mean, you make a chicken casserole and you make too much of it. You put some in a dish. Hey, you want some to take home for you and your dad to eat, or you and your mom to eat? Oh yeah, that's great. They think about that, and they're like, holy crap, and they're happy. And when they're happy when they leave, they're going to be happy when they come back. And that's one thing that I look at. So we always try to, you know, even if it's, you know, their dad's got to go somewhere, but the car's broke down. Hey, does your dad need a ride? We'll go pick him up and take him. It may sound kind of like, in a way, you're sucking up to them, but you're not. You're building them into your business to respect you, to want to come to work, to want to stay there and keep working no matter what. And then they don't question you when you have to go off and do stuff and they have to stay and work. So treating your employees, I think, with that little extra, the little extra kick is a big thing. And it's not so much money either. You know, I always round off the time with anybody that works for me. If they work 7 hours and 15 minutes, they get paid 8 hours. I just round it right up to the next hour, no matter what. That little bit, they look at that. In my eyes, I'm going, well, that's really only about $11. In their eyes, that's like, wow, that's cool. So treating your workers over and above than just being like, hey, okay, let's load up the trailer. We got to be at the first place at 9:15. Just, you know, that little extra is it always works. That was a good point that Nick put in there, because I firmly believe in that. You know, I worked only one job in my whole entire life, and that was with Island Painting. And he was a very demanding person. And it took a lot for me to want to go back there every time he was like that. But I stuck it out, and then I went out on my own. I was never treated like I was just explaining to you guys. And if you don't experience that, you wouldn't know how to express it to your employees. I came into the fact of seeing people come to work with me having worse issues than I have, having different problems, but bigger problems than what I have, and making them happy no matter what it might be. I mean, I've went and bought things like for guys, toothpaste and deodorant and bathroom stuff because they said they didn't have it at their home, that they were renting, and they didn't have enough money out of that month to pay for it. You know, those little things is treating them like family. And that's kind of where it goes to his number 5 there, you know, to welcoming the people in to where they want to keep coming back. And it's not all about just giving them extra money. You know, it's kind of almost like showing them a little love. You know what I'm saying? That sounds kind of weird to some of you guys maybe, but to me it doesn't. You know, if you don't show that extra respect to the employees, no matter what magnitude it is, whether it's food, money, tips, advice, transportation, whatever little bit, if you don't do that, you're not helping with them feeling comfortable enough to come in and build respect towards you. My opinion, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a God-given lecture person, but comes to common sense. Treat the people, make them feel happy, make them feel comfortable, no matter what it is. And we always need to remember, every single person that comes to work for us has their own problems, has their own situation, and they're dealing with it, trying to come to work for us, to treat us correct, to make our people happy, keep the clients happy, to bring a party together. So, we all need to consider that, and treating the employees with that little extra over and beyond really goes a long, long ways. It really, really does.
Yeah, I tried to word it because I knew I was going to go fast through everything. So I tried to word it in a way that would convey my point, so I said, treat the employees like the family that they are, meaning, you may not treat them like your son, like, right. You're probably not going to treat them like your son or your daughter or whatever, but they are the family that they are. Like, they are a family. So you need to make sure you treat them like the family that they are. For me, I think, Mark, all great points. My personality just lends itself to do it very differently. I don't get deep into the personal life, and I don't know what the mom and the dad I've always wished I had that piece of my personality. I just don't. I don't do the personal thing well. So I try to do it in another way, or lots of other ways. So I try to take care of so let me see if I can explain this. So tomorrow we're going to have our monthly meeting, and our monthly meeting doesn't happen monthly. It goes a couple months, and then all of a sudden we have a monthly meeting. But at the monthly meeting, I treat them all like the work family that they are. We're very camaraderie. We're very, there's lots of jokes and fun, but I try to make sure to be the leader or be the dad of that family. But then the way I do a lot of those things is because I'm obsessed with business. I just always kind of have been since I can remember. Really since I was 19, I was obsessed with business. It just had its hooks in me. I loved it. So I keep them in the business. I go into great detail of the statistics of the business. Now, I make sure to do so thoughtfully, but simple stuff like I quiz them on what were the top 3 renting units last month, or this is our first meeting this year, so I'm going to do the full quarter. I'm going to do 5, and there's a couple random units that they're not going to get, and it's going to go back and forth, be a lot of fun. I like to tell them kind of some of the financials, how did we make last week? Are we on track to make this week? Did we make last month? How are we sitting on the quarter? Where are we at on the year? I like to kind of bring them into the entire business, almost like those meetings we sit around a table and it's the partner meeting or the board meeting, where I'm going to divulge the information of how the business is doing. And I get into some pretty nitty gritty stuff, and it freaks some people out, but it makes them, it has them, invested back in the jump off to a degree that's, kind of scary. The amount of love and passion they have for the business is kind of scary. And then the other thing that I do is I try to help them in their personal lives, but it kind of, again, it goes back to professional, but whatever they want to do, right? Do they want to open a business? I push their asses to open the fucking business. They want to be big on TikTok. I push or start a YouTube channel. I push them to go do all those things, and I give them the knowledge to go accomplish all of those things. But that's the way I try to treat them like the family that they are. Is it's it stays very professional, but that's just kind of always been my personality. Dave asked what books I have on the shelf behind me. Any good recommendations? Yes, quite a few. Kind of depends on your appetite. So pretty much every single book back there is a business book. There's some personality stuff, but I read that so I could hire better. It's all kind of business stuff. But if you want, let's see, off the top of my head, let me see if I can do a top 3-ish. Let's see. I'm gonna say number one, 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. No, I don't think you can travel the world on a laptop working 4 hours a week. That's there. I'm sure there's people that have accomplished that, but no. But that book was major inspiration to become an entrepreneur and to get highly involved in the internet. Like that was kind of the book that was like, oh shit, you really can make money on the internet. And then when I launched the Jump Off store, that book is the Rolling Straps. Like the Rolling Straps comes from that book, like 100%. Okay, so that's probably number one. Number two is probably 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Old ass book, freaking great. Absolutely love it. 3 Laws of Leadership by Dave Logan. I think that's co-written by Dave Logan and somebody else, but you got to read that book like 3 times. It is a heavy read, but will change the course of your professional life if the concepts sink into your brain. Because like I said, it's a heavy read. Tribal Leadership, also written by Dave Logan. Kind of same type of concept as 3 Laws of Performance, but around people. Next one is Positive Personality Profiles. You can't buy that on Amazon anymore. You have to get it on eBay. You still get it on Amazon for like $1.50, but like it's, I don't know, it's like out of print or something, but you can get it on eBay for pretty cheap. It's about the DISC, D-I-S-C, DISC personality profile, and all the ways you can figure out what a person's personality is, and then I guess you could say manage them or treat that relationship appropriately once you know what type of person they are. That's probably my top. What was that? 4? I think that was 4. That's probably my top. Yeah, so there you go. That was pretty good off the top of my head. Facebook unmuted. I can hear myself talking. Yeah.
What the hell was that? What was all that shit?
Could you hear some shit? What was that?
Yeah, I just heard some.
What was that?
Like sounded like it was a delay of you talking.
Yeah, I heard that too. That was weird.
Is it me? Coming in?
It might have been an echo from somebody that's got their speakers up loud. I don't know.
My speakers are definitely not loud.
Let's blame it on Freddie.
I'm blaming it on you, Mark.
Hey,
Take the blame for it.
I ain't got nothing else going on but this show right here.
I've had a good week. I sold a tent for 14 grand, or 2 tents for 14 grand. I'm only gonna buy them for 6.
That's a score, bro. That's a good score.
So, and I'm having them pay me yearly to store them in my warehouse, and only like a quarter of the price to set it up each time they want to get it set up.
Hey, Justin,
But
how are you invoicing them for that?
3 separate invoices.
But you're doing it through BCN?
I did do it through BCN actually.
Okay, because my job actually wants to buy a 10 by 10 tent that I have.
What I did is I customized the email before I just sent it out.
Yeah, like a new booking.
I put it as, instead of saying booking and shit, I started saying tent sale.
Okay, gotcha.
And put a bunch of information and stuff that I thought that basically I Google barded. And then to look good. and then sent them all that stuff. So hopefully that if that goes through, then I can pay my leisure order and I'm freaking ahead for this year even more.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That and I had let's just say I had a Fortune 500 company hit me up to do possibly do their inflatables all across the East Coast. And if that goes through, I'm gonna have to hire 2 more people and buy a truck. And then they literally, like, there was a company that was doing that before, but they went out of business during COVID. And yeah, like I could be, if I get that contract, basically I'm basically gonna have to have a crew just handling that every week and have custom inflatables built. And yeah,
I have an insurance question for maybe some of the people that have been in it longer and I've run into this.
you don't need it.
No, I do. I have
as a joke for anybody listening.
I know. I have I have my answer on it just because I spoke with my lawyer about it, and he kind of told me what to do. But I was just kind of seeing if y'all run into this issue. Basically, we had a booking come through. It was like, I don't know, it was $3,000-$4,000 booking from a school, and their superintendent looked over our waiver and said that they would not sign a contract with it having a hold harmless and something else in it. Basically meaning, I guess they say since they're federal or since they're government, whatever. I'm really chopping this up, but basically saying that they can't sign for that specific thing, saying that they could hold us, hold harmless us.
Oh, that's an easy one.
What state are you
What?
in?
So,
Georgia.
all you gotta do is tell them, hey, we charge you by the hour for staff, and you can remove it.
No.
That's the only time you ever want to remove it.
So, okay. So I originally brought that up. I 1099 my guys. They don't have training, and I don't have the rape and molestation insurance coverage and all that stuff. So I don't. And if you staff it, you therefore, my lawyer said, you're putting yourself more at fault for anything that happens because you're staffing it.
Yes.
I don't. So
that's the whole point. The only so you basically have to. The only way to do it is, first of all, you shouldn't be 1099 your guys, but
I know, but
second of all, like I can't answer. Like, you know what I mean? That's a whole nother story. But as far as all the other stuff goes, that's the whole reason that you have your staff there, and the only reason you'd ever want to remove that is because your staff is watching it and not theirs, and it's the only way they'll be not 100% liable. It's the only way you get government contracts because of all that bullshit. If they're government, they might pay a little bit more. They definitely have probably more funding than normal people because they're government. And then like as far as like rape and shit, I've met all your guys personally. I wouldn't worry about that as much unless they require it.
The problem is what I'm saying is all it takes for a kid to fall backwards, like you're sitting there and they catch them and they actually like touch their butt or something, and that's game over. But what I'm trying to say, I already talked to the school and said that was my first response was, okay, I'll staff it. $400 per staff member per unit required. And they were okay with it. But once my lawyer said, look, mark out that one section, because legally they cannot pretty much they cannot sign and say that they won't hold whoever liable if another kid gets hurt because of their,
See, there's a sneaky answer you can do too. I'm not trying to cut you off. There's a sneaky way you can do this that I do sometimes. I don't even like saying this on camera because I don't even know if it's like, I don't know. Basically, I tell them I can remove it, but then I just have my guys go there and put their volunteers. At the end of the day, their people are watching it and they're liable anyways.
Well, that's what. So my lawyer said, mark it out, have them sign the rest of it. That states all the safety procedures. They still are signing, saying that they will, do all the safety stuff. Let me give you the word that they're scared of. I guess I will say the word is indemnify. I'm saying that wrong. I know. Indemnify. Anyways, pretty much the hold harmless and the indemnify, because they can't legally do that for other people's kids since they're, considered government or whatever. Yep. So he told me as long as they sign the rest of that, you really don't want staff there, and it's best. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to get sued, you're going to get sued.
If you can convince them to have volunteers there, and they don't realize with their volunteers there, they're still liable no matter what they sign because they're liable for watching people and stuff like that.
Well, the contract still states that they will be there, and it says that you're signing saying that you went over this list with all the participants and that you will manage and watch over the event, and they're still going to sign for that portion. I'm just taking out that one spot about the hold harmless.
Yeah, so you want to have it. So I'm not a lawyer or anything, but you're going to want to have in your training thing when you're teaching these people, and then part of that training is that they are responsible and taking some of that responsibility as part of their training. And if you do that, like there's whole businesses that they do that with rentals, and that's the whole thing with filling out the entire survey and you're dropping off because now they are now you're a rental operator because my certified trainer. That's how PA works and stuff like that. Like, I'm a certified trainer. I'm dropping this off and certifying you to be able to watch this event because I'm a certified trainer to certify you. And now, like, you know what I'm saying? And you can do that in other states that are not as strict about it. I'm not a lawyer, CPA, financial advisor, anything like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, oddly enough, I had only my second ever school on the same exact day show some concern about it. And I spoke with the third party insurance provider. He's not the actual insurance provider, but he did tell me that he said, as long as you have a contract, if you ever do get sued, even if, like, obviously that would be better to have in it for the backyard parties, which it does matter, but it doesn't matter. If the school will sign for it, then it does help a little bit. But at the end of the day, having a contract, even without that in it, is still better than no contract, because he said 9 times out of 10, if they do get in a lawsuit with a no contract signed or they lost it, insurance will still cover it, but they'll drop you 30 days later, and then you're going to have a hard time getting more insurance after that. So he said, my lawyer was like, at the least get it signed. And the insurance guy said, the third party provider, not the actual insurance provider, he said at some point the insurance companies are going to have to give on that, because he said he has someone call him 3-4 times a week about the same situation, and they're going to have to realize, like, that's not feasible for schools to sign for, because he's starting to figure out more and more people are bringing it to the company's attention. So at the least, maybe someone learns from it. Like, I just went through all this and it was very confusing, and it's a headache.
Very common in the event industry. It's like a dance. You want to dance with liability. How much liability do you want? At the end of the day, like you realize, like, to be clear, not a lawyer or anything like that, but when you get, like, I shouldn't even say this. I don't want to say that because I'm going to get a lot of hate from it.
Well, at the end of the day,
I'll just say it, but I'm just going to tell you right now because it's kind of fucked up. But, like, a lot of manufacturers get brought up in the lawsuits just like crazy. And they start paying, like, lawyers and freaking insurance companies. They want to share the blame as much as they can. So like not only like that's basically what's going to happen. You might only end up spending a third of that. Like, to be clear, you want to talk about liability. Some kid gets hurt. The only difference is their insurance pays half the bill. You're still paying half that bill if somebody gets hurt, no matter what, because they're going to fight for that shit.
If it's a backyard party, they're going to get their homeowners insurance. They're going to get the rental company, and they're going to get the manufacturer. So, I mean, I've heard manufacturers get drug insurance.
Yeah, and it's all circumstantial. And if you're setting up right and all that, and something goes wrong and stuff, but if you're setting up wrong, right, the most of the time stuff doesn't go wrong. But there's always freak accidents, things happen. But if you're setting up right and there's no obvious manufacturer defect, it normally just becomes like, okay, everybody pays. Like, there's no.
At that point, you just hope it's a broke nose or arm and not like a broke neck or something.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah, no,
please.
You can't.
Please.
Well, I'm going to, because Georgia might be a little different. Kentucky might be a little different than Florida. Every school carries a general liability policy for every single event that happens at that school. Every PTA, or whatever they're called in each state, has their own general liability insurance for every single event they do. They wanted you, and it's happened to me, to manipulate your release of liability to try to lessen their exposure per se. But when it comes down to it, if little Johnny breaks their arm, they're going to go to the school first. The school's general liability is going to take care of the situation. Will it come to you? Very possible. Justin brought up a fact about bringing in manufacturers, and I'm gonna do a roundabout like that. Jen Paskey, the White House press secretary, always does the roundabout. Come back and let's talk again. Yeah. There was an incident, and I will not name the company's name, the manufacturer, because we all still buy from them. There was an incident where it was a boxing
Ninja jump.
See, I'm not going to say things on camera that can actually come
No,
back.
so the whole thing is, first of all,
write it, but let me.
I'll bring full context
mind.
because I
I'm
said
done.
it. Ninja Jump isn't even owned by the same person anymore, and they sold that to Easy, who
shut up
now
and let him
owns Ninja
finish.
Jump. But I'll let Mark finish. I'm sorry.
Mute yourself.
So that's okay. Go ahead. You can finish. I'm done. I'm done.
See, now you pissed him off.
I should have said it after. No, so Ninja Jump, I'll tell you the story. Ninja Jump had boxing gloves, and because the boxing, and there's a whole bunch of manufacturers that still produce boxing gloves that do not have the rules written on the gloves as well as the actual inflatable. And because of that, they got sued. And they used to have the Magic Jump freaking Disney license before all that went down. So, but Ninja Jump did, but that was before Art or even bought it, or you know what I mean, and Easy actually bought it. But yeah, they had a bunch of it actually. They lost the company, they got sued a whole bunch, but yeah, they got brought down because the gloves, I think what happened was this kid got punched in the head and got a concussion. And there was no actual rules written on the gloves, and there's still a bunch of manufacturers that print gloves and sell
They
gloves.
went after the guy because the laces were not correctly manufactured on the glove. It didn't have nothing to do about the kid getting injured by getting punched. The freaking lawyers go into it and looked at the fucking manufacturer and saw that one goddamn row of stitching was not correct. Hitting the kid in the head is part of the freaking game. Playing a boxing game is it. But they found one little manufacturer defect, and that
stitching was the last thing that would matter on that lawsuit.
And that's what will happen in a freaking school event. A lawyer is not going to come after you because little Johnny broke little Susie's leg because she were jumping in the bounce house. They're going to find a defect in that manufacturer's unit, and then they'll come after you, but they'll go to the school's insurance first before they even think about coming to us.
Mark,
the guy who, I don't know the guy's name, he's in the dark, that started the whole conversation about insurance. If it was me and I've done it and I've lost money, if somebody wants me to manipulate my paperwork that my attorney wrote up to please them, goodbye. I walk away from the job. I have not manipulated my paperwork in 21 years. I use the same exact release of liability. I will not adjust it for anybody. And if you do that to adjust it just to get a job, it's benefiting them and it's going to come back and it's going to haunt you. I would not do it.
Well, let me touch on that though. Well, that's Mark. So I from what my lawyer said, and I don't know if it's different state for state or what, but he told me that that's always been the case with the schools, that they cannot indemnify or something another. I guess it's saying like they can't sign. How do I say this?
They can't sign the rights away from a child.
I guess so. I don't know. Maybe, but what he told me, he said it was true. And he said, even if a kid did get hurt at school, they still can't be held liable unless it was some, I don't know how to exactly word it. Basically saying that with them being, you know, a government funded or with the whatever, that they, I guess that's why, I don't know. I'm kind of tripping over my words here.
Have you gotten it? Did you get the job?
I did.
You did get the
But
job.
because
have you done the job?
I've not done it. No.
Okay, now just let me ask you a question. You kept saying you've been talking with your attorney. How much have you had to pay your attorney for this?
Well, he's a very close friend of mine, so I didn't have to pay him anything.
Okay, so you got lucky with that. I personally, the headaches that it's sounding like they're trying to make with you, I would have walked.
Yeah.
If you have the job, You need to go in there. You need to make sure every one of your units are staked down properly. Everything is clean. There's not even a piece of dental floss inside a bounce house that a kid could hit and cut their face.
I'll probably have the guys do a walkthrough video of every unit.
You
set up.
yourself
I mean,
should be on that job and walk through every single bit of it to make sure it's perfect. That's what you
Right.
should do. When that job's over, I'm telling you right now, don't ever manipulate your paperwork to appease somebody again. Because if your attorney has already written that up, if you already have a legal document that you're using, that's what you stand by. Don't change it for anything. I won't do it. I can't tell you how many times I've walked away from bigger events because they want me to change paperwork. I'm doing one coming up here in June. I just signed a contract with doing a United States Navy event. They had me block a day. They rented my entire company for one day. They want as many inflatables as I can put in our fairgrounds for one day. And it's possible I could get many, many other gigs from that. They wanted me to change my paperwork. My paperwork was done by an attorney. I said, no, my paperwork is as it is, or I walk away. I'm talking a very, very high dollar event.
Hey,
I
Mark.
wouldn't change my paperwork. Don't change your paperwork. Stand your ground. Have your paperwork that you already had set up by your attorney and stick with it. The minute you start changing things, the minute you start changing verbiage, that's where you're going to end up losing. I would not do it. I would
Mark,
not do it.
I want to say something on that lawsuit. Laces was part of it, but that was the least amount of the worries. The wording on the gloves is what actually did them in. Like the wording on the gloves was the most freaking crazy part about the entire thing. And you can ask most manufacturers about that. Like I got that on video with multiple manufacturers. But the lacing, what you're talking about, is correct. That was brought up too. But I never saw that as a bigger deal. It was never really as a bigger deal in a lawsuit. But that kid got a concussion, and that's what started the whole thing too. Somebody gets hurt is what normally starts it. I agree though. I don't change wording for anything, but that's because I can talk to them. And I still don't change the wording of my contract because at the end of the day, with my staff working there, like they're the volunteers and my contract's written that way.
Well, I'm gonna say this, y'all. With the schools here, I don't know about anywhere else. You won't be able to work with any school district without changing that whole harness. But also, because they have a master contract in this area, we have about 5 school districts here. They have a master contract for all vendors, but in that master contract, it does state that you won't be held responsible for their negligence or their employees' negligence and stuff like that. So that is the way around that. As long as you go over the rules, you have your rules posted and stuff like that. That is the way around that. But you won't go in any school in our area without doing that. And I don't care what district it is. And they are tightening down on that.
Exactly. Every school that I do wants
Here.
a additionally insured, and you should not be paying for additionally insured either. Like if you are,
No,
you want a new
100%.
insurance company. I just want to say that for everybody else.
I had a private school call me the other day wanting a $2 million, $4 million, and I told her straight up, I'm like, there is not a company within 250 miles that's going to have that coverage. I said, if you'll change that on your little contract, I'll sign it. And then she ended up changing it. But I honestly think all schools are going to come to that 100% because, like the insurance guy told me, well, the third party guy, he said it's an everyday phone call, at least 2, 3, 4 times a week. And I think the insurance policies are going to realize that. And when they start reviewing, the people's contracts because he told me that they review people's contracts before they approve them for the insurance. I think they're going to start knocking that out and not requiring that in a contract.
Who do you have for insurance, bud?
I can't tell you off the top of my head. It's a new guy this year.
Someone local or not an industry?
Not local, no. He is an industry guy. His name's Kyle. I don't know.
Oh, okay, Kyle. Okay, from
OVO maybe.
Yeah, no, Zodiac.
Yeah,
Oliver and Dyke. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I honestly think it's going to come to that, but that's why I budged.
How much was the job?
Do what?
How much was the job?
So they booked 2 events with me, which were a little over. It was like 6,500 with the 2 events.
Okay.
But they do like 6 to 8 events a year. They're the biggest money school within, like, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know, probably
so
within
you want to
100.
get the contract and stuff like that. It's worth your time. No matter
So
what.
it's a new area for me that I moved into, and that's the center school of the whole area. Like, if they use me, I've already booked 3 other schools in that area, and one of them was a $2,500 event. I mean it's nuts, really. But I mean, with my lawyer telling me, like, look, that's not going to be the deciding factor of a lawsuit. Some people will disagree, some people will agree, but of course it would help a little bit in court. But then again, like, I've also heard people say they've gotten sued and they pretty much looked at their contract and laughed at it, like, oh, like, that's cool, you have that, but that's not going to really be a deciding factor here in court. I guess
It's
it will,
dude, at the end of the
but
day, make sure you got a good guy there that knows what the fuck he's doing, can make sure that all the power is good, that nothing goes wrong, and can manage all the volunteers. And if they want you to manage all the staff over there, make sure you charge up the ass. I charge at least $50 plus an hour per inflatable, and then double on obstacle courses, because every manufacturer, you need to have 2 people watching that on the front and the back. So, you know what I mean? Even if the one person is just in the back giving a thumbs up because it's clear, you technically have to have that. Would you agree with that, Mark?
What Josh said is kind of what I was kind of trying to get at in the chat with the public schools. That's what I was trying to get at. That's so they can't claim the liable. You know, they can't say, oh, we won't hold you liable, we'll hold ourselves liable. They can't legally. It's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said,
is that the one you sent me? Because
yes.
Yeah, because the contract didn't open. Like, it tells me that it's like not available anymore.
And that's if you're dealing with the school
okay.
direct and they have the funds. A lot of times when you're dealing with the PTO, is totally different. Like Mark said.
And I tried to ask the guy, I was like, why will you get someone outsourced, as in, like, they book it not through the school, they book it as a donation. And I don't think it would really work that way, but I was like, you put the liability on them.
Oh, the school donates to the PTO. That's how it normally goes, and that's why they do it. So most schools do the PTOs. The school would donate money to the PTO, and the PTO would host events. So the PTO would be liable, and the PTO holds a separate insurance. That's why they do that most of the time. But then some schools like, oh, we control everything, so we do it through ours, but they really just don't have a lawyer. And then some, possibly because you said yours is federal, it might not be able to do that. I'm not a lawyer or a CPA or anything. Like, there's a few different, there could be some gray area there why they couldn't, but most schools do it through PTO for that reason exactly.
Well, at this point, I mean, like I said, I just hope, I don't want any injuries at my events. I mean, I know it could happen.
You'll get the job, or you got the job, you said, right?
Yeah, I got it already.
Yeah.
I mean, so there was another company that turned them down over it, and I was just like,
don't stress too much, man. At the end of the day, walking out your door, you're risking the biscuit. Eating a burger with too much freaking salt, you're risking the biscuit. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, David, how much did you say the event was?
6,500
for between 2. They booked 2.
Yeah, I got you. Can you go? Like, can you be there physically?
Not the whole time, no. But that's what I was getting at.
Like, for setup?
Oh yeah. I can go for setup.
Yeah, because we have one this Friday that's probably one of, like, our bigger events that we've had. It's 4 water slides, but it's at a school. Yeah. And, like, 4 water slides, I guess, like, 4 water slides are going to go to, like, right, a school or a camp or whatever. But I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm going to be there on setup and tear down for sure, no question. Just because there's going to be, you know, I mean, it's 4 water slides, so it's like, off the top of my head, it's like 250 kids rotating through it. you know, the whole day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be there to make sure that everything's set right, because it's just, you know, the right thing to do, I guess you could say. I don't know.
I mean, I hope I can make it. I'll be honest with you. Our school situation is, it's blown my expectation out of the water. I mean, I looked at mine yesterday morning, and I want to say my May was at 19,000, and I looked at it today, and it's at 26,000. I mean, and I'm just constantly, I'm still getting calls every day. Like it's very overwhelming. Like if I can make it through this month, I'll be happy.
What my suggestion for you, that if that's the case, this hasn't happened to me, so this is kind of shooting from the hip advice.
It'll happen tomorrow. You just jinx yourself.
I hope so. But once you start getting those bigger events, backyard starts to look different. So then that's where those bigger companies start to make the shift away from backyard and go predominantly corporate and make more money, not less money, right? Now, you know, I don't ever want to ditch backyard personally, but if you're starting to get towards that already, just having the offerings that you have and landing those schools, it's probably in your best interest to go have your lawyer friend get paid and have a contract that satisfies the school districts. And if you could have the same contract that will satisfy the school districts and backyard, that's cool. That's awesome. If not, if you have two, that's fine too, because then you can then go and when you're going to book a school, right? Obviously, it's going to come through, and you're going to take the call, and you're going to do it manually. You can have that separate contract that protects you, but also has their parameters built in. If you're going to do that much fucking business in school,
I mean, how else is there to protect yourself other than hold harmless? I mean,
yeah, I would talk to insurance and lawyers. I don't know the answer to that. I haven't
Basically getting more people involved in documentation to prove you weren't negligent. That's the only thing other than the agreement that you can do. If that makes sense.
Right. It's probably got to be a wording that says,
yes, there, and there's a lot of background noise, Nick. I don't know who it's coming from, but it's super loud.
Somebody's about to get kicked. What's the shape of Italy?
There we go. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so God damn it. Yeah, I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. And
it's David Rosser.
Yep, got it. Okay, maybe Mark can put some wisdom to this, but instead of the whole harmless, basically it says you have a second form that says you sign here that says we set up correctly. You sign here, you checked all anchor points, and it's like an initial sheet, right? I have one of those we're doing this year for schools, basically. And mine's not going to be as in depth as what yours might need to be, because I don't have the regulations, right? I'm in Louisiana. It's the Wild West out here. But basically, mine's going to be sign off on all the rules, one kid sliding at a time, you know, all the rules. The person that is signing for the inflatable at the school, camp, or church is signing off on all the rules. You could take one step further potentially and just say signing off on the rules. And then, you know, I mean, fuck, if you're getting that much business, I would make a diagram that says, here's the diagram. Owner's manual says, whatever, 18 anchors. You counted 18 anchors. Initial here. You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, talk with the lawyer and the insurance guy to get it set up correctly. But like, that's a lot of business that's seemingly going to grow, right? It's on the up and up. So I would look into a way to satisfy all those needs with a separate piece of documentation for those schools.
I think it's a good idea, a checklist.
That is true and good. I'm gonna say it's more good that you have that second paper. It looks good. It sounds good. But honestly, when it comes down to the bottom line, it's attorney against insurance. and the insurance will pay. We can have every paperwork we want. The attorney will find that one thing, one little thing, whether it's a manufacturer issue with the bounce house, whether we don't have the anchor on the bounce houses going in the right points, whether we didn't put the proper amount of nails in the rug in front of the entrance, which would have not a goddamn thing to do with the accident. That's all they need to find. And every paperwork that we have signed doesn't mean shit.
Yep.
But it's good
Well-
to do because it does deter the probable situation that may arise. They may look at it and go, okay, well, we're South Coast Elementary out of Louisiana, and little Susie bounced into little Johnny, and we know it was her fault. There's the motor on the bounce house didn't fail. The screening didn't cause the problem. It wasn't raining, it wasn't windy, and we got all these papers signed with all this document here. Yeah, it might just be better we just throw it into our insurance and call it a day. It's a deterrence, yes. But honestly, when it comes down to it, the attorney, if they really want to come after you, they're going to. And the paperwork ain't gonna mean shit, because all they gotta find is one little tiny thing. I mean, just one.
Well, that's kind of what I'm going back to on why why my lawyer told me just scratch that one thing out and have them sign the rest, because at the end of the day, even if they sign a hold harmless, you're going to get hit for it either way. I mean, that's kind of what that's kind of what I was trying to say here. Like, do I give up that much money on a job, or do I just change that one section? Because at the end of the day, like you said, you're still going to get sued whether they sign that hold harmless or not. And that piece of paper really, I mean, like you said, you can say you secured it properly, you went over the rules, they went and signed for this, that, and other. But even if they sign a hold harmless, you're going to get sued either way. So that's kind of was my take on it. Like, do I abandon this big of a customer over that, knowing that if it did, even if they did sign it with that still in there, it's going to be the same outcome whether I scratch it or not.
Correct. And you're talking the school event here, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, which is a big dollar event. Okay, which you are more exposed to injury at a school event than a backyard event.
Definitely, because there's more kids.
So it's a yes or no situation with you, or a do or don't situation with you, because do I do it? Do I don't do it? Do I tell them I'm not changing the paper and I lose the job and never get that money again? I mean, that's your decision there. I would not want my person to have the headache of knowing I altered my paperwork to appease them, knowing I'm going to get sued anyways. I would stand my ground, but that's me. I'm just a stub nose to that, I guess.
So going back, so would you not change your paperwork simply for the fact of, like, they should operate under just what you've done for the last 20 years, or is it for the sake that you truly think that piece of information, the hold harmless, is going to actually make that big of a difference in court getting sued?
I would say that I would stand ground on my paperwork. One, because I've always used it. Two, it will stand the same in court no matter what we do. They're gonna find a fault. As long as we have our paperwork, that's where we hope and pray the judge looks at it and goes, well, he crossed A, B, C, D. He crossed all his lines, and little Susie bounced into little Johnny and broke her arm. That's not his fault. That's where you would need to hope for that. Honestly, dude, listen, man. I don't know many people that's been sued in this business. I know people get sued. I don't know many people that have been sued in this business at all. I probably could count them on one hand. I'm not saying there's not people that has gotten sued. Shit happens 90% of the time. People understand it and they're okay. But you get that one god darn percent that's a dickweed, and they sit there and say, well, we're poor and we want money and we're going to come after you. Well, that's where your insurance is going to sit there and go, okay, well, the max we're going to give them is $5,000. You know, it's not like you're going to get sued and they're going to pay them $1 million. It's not going to happen. Every insurance company has that cap. They just, I can't speak to what that cap is. I just know they got that cap, and that's all they're going to get. It's not like they're going to sue you and they're going to take your house and your lamps and whatever else. You know, it doesn't. I've never heard of it going that far that I'm aware of in my time of being in this business. You know, I think probably what you should do with this job, and take it for what I say, take it for what I don't say. It's up to you. You got the job. You've done your homework with the attorney. Do the damn thing. See if you have any hiccups. If you have hiccups on their fault, like they're complaining about this or they complain about that, don't do it again.
That's another thing too. I will definitely haul at least. I want to haul 3, maybe 4 generators to the job. And if I have any question about their electrical, I'll tell them straight up, like, no, like generators are a must. $120 a generator, they're required. So you either going to rent them or you're not, because that's the biggest thing to me. Like, I don't know why that worries me so much, but I run into it a lot here lately with schools. But like, they let some, no offense to any, females out there, but they'll let some woman come out there that really doesn't understand 100-foot that's not 100-foot, Oh, well, I didn't really think about that. I had it happen to me the other day. Luckily, I was right down the road from the shop, and I said, we have to have a generator for this job. Like, you're pointing at across a field that's 400 feet away. Well, yeah, I guess so. And if it's that soon, they're going to be like, just put the generator on it. Like, we don't want to ruin the whole day after we're this close to the event starting, just over not being able to get the power to it. And that's become a big thing here lately with me. Like, if it's going to a school event, I will throw a generator or 2 on the trailer, depending on how many units they have, and say, look, if you get there and it's not within 100 feet or that it's not on a separate circuit, require the generator to be sure. Because the last thing I want is one of these things coming down with, because I'll say it, I've been to school events and they say, are they ready? And I say yes, and they just let the kids go. There'll be, 10, 15 kids on it. And I'm like, God, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I don't want to see this. I don't want one of those things to deflate on 10, 15 kids. I mean,
there's times where I tell them that, listen, hey, I'm going to charge you for the generator and I'll refund you, or I'll take it off the order because you're writing the check at the end of the day anyways. And you can. So, because sometimes they know that they're going to need extra stuff. I want them in their expectation, be like, hey, I might need more stuff the other day, but hey, maybe I might not need these stuff, like this stuff, like sidewalls and stuff like that. I play with some of my customers. It's a carny thing. I don't, you know what I mean? But like, I can run up people real quick sometimes like that. But also, like, at the end of the day, I have the generator there because you're going to do that regardless. Everybody that's worked for Salt that's doing good events going to have that generator there regardless. And then sometimes I won't even upcharge them to listen, remember this next year, but you're paying for next year. I did that with a school this year. I actually talked them into a smaller obstacle course instead of a bigger one and for more money for more days, because they wouldn't need a generator, and just weird stuff. Like, just, you know what I mean? But I was gonna say something else too, but I totally forgot my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Because I was gonna say something else to the line of what you're talking about. What were we talking about again? I started drinking, by the way.
About bringing generators to an event, not knowing about power and
that's what I was gonna say. People don't know what the fucking difference between a duplex receptacle and an outlet. So, like, or a circuit. So like you have to like actually explain them what the difference, you know what I mean? Like, listen, just because it's got 2 plugs and it's in a different place doesn't mean it's on the same freaking out on the same circuit, ma'am,
Right.
sir,
Yeah.
they, them.
I've run
like,
into that a lot.
seriously. So like, and then like I swear to God, I all the time I run into like I'm playing fucking electrician, I'm playing plumber. Like freaking, I'm unhooking their. How many people here have unhooked somebody's washer or in their basement so that they can throw a hose through a window to run for a water slide? Like,
I've thrown a foam party doing that.
exactly. So it's like you like you know what I
will.
mean? That move right there, just being able to locate it right there. Now you're a plumber.
Yeah.
Quotation marks.
Bro, I'm in the
like you're playing, you know what I mean? You're going above and beyond. And when you do that shit, I always ask for a fucking review.
rugged area, and then there's no hose, or there was a hose, but some shit was, I don't remember. And I'm like, I gotta go.
It breaks off, it falls off or something.
Has a door, but there's no stairs to the trailer, you know what I mean? And so like I'm climbing up there, there's dirty clothes everywhere, there's kids running around. I'm in there with channel locks. I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta get this party started because I got places to be. And then it went off without a hitch.
Yep.
And
then they turn the fucking hot water on, and the hot water fucking runs off the thing instead of the freaking cold water. I've had that fucking happen to me before. I'm sorry for swearing so much. I'm actually 4 Hayburgers and they're like 7.2s.
If you trip a breaker at a church or a school, good luck finding the panel for it. I ran into that 2 or 3 times last year. The teachers damn sure don't know.
There's things that I like to call schools for and have the maintenance like done and like have things done beforehand. Like when you have a double door, I also ask them, is that partition there or not? Like if there's a partition there, most of the time, if older schools they don't, but a lot of the newer schools and newer buildings, that partition in the middle that connects both double doors, there's a key at the top you can interchange. And any school worth its salt, there's actually some wires running in there, so because it's electronic, so you can actually monitor it all the time. So you have to like just like, you know what I mean, unplug the 2 wires and stuff and plug it back in to get this whole pole out to get the inflatable in when you're doing big stuff in a school with double doors. I like to call it, like if I know there's going to be a janitor there, like I'm in a school or something, I know I'm inside the gym, I like to call before. Nick, that's actually like what I wanted to talk to you about. I would love to do just one of these, me and you, just about large events and talk, you know what I mean? Because I'm actually doing way more large events this year than ever. I'm actually starting to go on the NACA circuit, which is, I'm not even going to talk to you about that because then we'll be competition. Figure that out. There's your hint. David, you got your hand up.
I just thought of something that's crazy.
What's up?
And people don't think about this. Invest or find the right part, because a lot of them are different. Some of them are different. If you're doing a lot of school events, order a universal water hose key. I don't know how many times I've went, dude. I don't know how many times I've went and couldn't turn the water on or off, and I'm like, my God, they can't find the key, and we can't leave it outside for when we get. Oh my, especially like last year I would get to a school and my shit would be just covered in mud.
I'm gonna one up you, man. You should have a kit for everything. You should have a kit for each truck going out that has a bunch of stuff in it. What stuff should be in it? I'll tell you right now. Repairs. One of those water keys, especially for phone parties, you should be in there. Like screwdrivers, wrenches, just your basic little tools for any job. There's different like you know what I mean? You want all those little things that I have in there. I keep a door stop in there, a couple door stops for when you're going to school for those doors that don't open and stuff like that. So you can easily put that in there when you're going in and out. There's a few things that I keep in a tool bag that I actually have in each and every delivery truck that I make the drivers bring with their clipboard.
Splitters for water hoses.
Yeah, like it's not necessarily splitter for water hoses. Those ones I have in a bag for big jobs that I keep actually with my like I have like different stuff because you need when you bring an obstacle course, like how does everybody manage the strings for their obstacle courses when they want because they have to sew them together. You know what I mean? As if it's not just completely just Velcro, you should be actually like your Velcro, you're actually putting that bungee in between them and all. Like I have a whole bin just full of those that people grab for obstacle courses when there's more than one on a job. That's just full
I
of
don't.
them.
Yeah.
They know what's
I
going
don't. I
on.
don't know why, but that water key one really got me last year because we would be there at like 5, 6 o'clock picking up
Oh,
slides, and I'm like, I really wish I could turn the water on and spray all this fucking mud off of these slides because they're going straight back out to another school, and I don't want to get there and they
It's
see
not
it
even that.
covered in mud.
What about the time when you're waiting for the fucking janitor to turn the water on?
Yep.
20 minutes for him to show up or something just to turn the water on or something for a foam party for a different event. Water keys
And they
is
scratch
definitely
their
clutch.
They scratch their head and they're like, man, we didn't know it would take 30 minutes to an hour to fill a pool. Like, yes, like we need the water key now, not when the event starts, now. When you start filling the water in the dunk tank. I mean, so.
Darren, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. What's the latest you guys will do pickups after a party in the evening?
It depends on the year. I fluctuate based off the what you call it when the sun's going down, but I'm trying to keep it to 7 and below for the actual stuff online today for this year. And then as far as like actually having my guys out there, I don't want them past like 9 during certain times and then like 8 as it gets throughout. Then that 7's like a hard like, hey, I want it done at 6.
If you have a party that ends at 10, would you go that night or would you go the
overnight?
Charge them overnight. Charge them
overnight.
Yeah.
Darren, where are you at, Darren?
I'm in Utah.
Okay, so you're a whole. It goes to the demographics of where everybody's at. Also, you know, in Georgia is total different. Florida's total different. I mean, we have daylight to 8:30 out here.
I have a buddy in Utah.
So
where
the late night pickup, they go to 10 o'clock. The party goes to 10 o'clock. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you got a busy day that day and you're out there
You put a blanket in there?
picking up, why not go pick it up at 10 o'clock? If you're already out there, if they're willing to pay the fee to go overnight, I could see that. But, you know, just because, well, I shouldn't say just because, customers think, well, my party's over at 10 o'clock. They need to come and get it. Why do I have to pay overnight? Because they don't want to come back and get it at 10 o'clock. And I'm not saying that happens in your state. I'm not saying it happens in California or Kentucky or wherever. In my town, in Florida, if the party's over at 10 o'clock, I don't really get them until 10 o'clock. So that's a whole different thing. But 9 o'clock is usually the latest. If their party's over at 9 and I say, well, we're not going to come back and get it, we're going to have to charge you overnight fee, I don't get that rental. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that. And there's probably 5 or 10 of you in here that'll say, oh, no, you get the overnight fee. You'll get the overnight fee. No, that's bullshit. You don't. You just don't.
100%.
So if you can adjust your time to pick it up, great. If you can't and you have to leave it overnight and pick it up in the morning, that's what you do. You don't charge them an overnight fee because they're not using it after 9 o'clock.
No. You always, Mark, you're doing it. You always try to push the overnight, and then you give them a free overnight if they don't do it. You got to try and push the overnight.
Okay, but you can push it all you want, just like you can push the fucking fees all you want. Fee this, fee that, fee this, fee that. That's
Mark,
bullshit. You can't.
Fuck that shit. I make money, man.
Okay, well, you're in Buffalo. Buffalo's a different story. You get 6 months out of the year to rent shit. That's it.
Yes.
That's it. We get all year. Utah gets a lot 6 months out of the year.
So Utah, I want to bring up something that's specific for Utah in general because he's in Utah. Before we get all fucking crazy.
Hold on.
So no. Sundays. Where are you in Utah, for example?
I'm just north of Salt Lake, up near Ogden.
Okay. if you work on a Sunday, you get chastised in your area, do you not?
Yeah.
Okay, nobody knows this, but I know this. So let's talk actual real shot. Let's
I
talk
know that.
real
I know
business.
that.
So okay, what's that? But that's what I wanted to get at. You like the best people, like most people in Utah do full weekend rentals because of that reason, like just that reason alone.
That's
So,
where I
and you
just
can
said
get
the
good prices.
demographics
And
make a
then
big difference.
Utah and over that area,
Did
they're
I not just
fucking
say
all
that, Nick?
Mormons, so they have 1 million kids. So you like, don't be afraid to be higher priced. They got
Hold
money
on.
too.
Justin, how much do you charge for the overnight?
Me $50, and then most of so this is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I tell people it's $50 for an overnight. But if my units, like most people already are informed of that multiple times before they even purchase or at the purchase and booking. If they don't do it then it's like, it is what it is. Like sometimes I lose rentals, but to be clear, I have the model that I should be losing like at least 60% of my bookings I should be losing because I have enough people coming in. Like I would just be overbooked for a lower amount of price. I should be losing rentals because at 40%, I'm still booked out, but at a higher price because
Okay,
I have volume
so
and people coming in.
You're
But
going
that's
off
not what
track.
I'm going to get into the economics
Hold
of
on.
all that
Time out.
shit. I don't, you know what I mean?
Time out. So I'm near Mark, literally an hour away. Mark,
Yep.
I charge 45. I get about maybe 6 out of 10 rentals. People will pay for the overnight.
Thank you.
People will pay for it if you explain it to them correctly. You also have to give it to them.
100% of the rentals when I give it to them free. I get all of them. I don't want to lose $300 rentals for $30.
You go back to the demographics, guys.
No sense.
Go back to the demographics of where people are at. Every single one of us is in a different demographic area.
Darren
up in Utah, a total different. His time frame of renting is probably different than Chicago.
I understand, but the point of it is you have to try. And Nick, I wasn't talking about. Hold on, shut up, Justin. Hang on. I wasn't talking about 6 or 7 out of 10 rentals. I was talking about 6 or 7 out of 10 overnight fees. Every single customer that I talk to, one, when they book with me, I explain the overnight. Second, when I drop it off, I explain the overnight again. Out of 6 or 7 out of 10, 6 or 7 of them are going to pay me my overnight rentals, $45.
To be clear, I always try to ask them what time because I want those short rentals. I want people to say like, I only need it for 2 hours and they get it for 8. Like I always ask them what time first.
I also tell them.
I agree with what you're saying.
I also tell them that my priorities are deliveries. So if the rental's on a Saturday and they pay for the overnight, I tell them because they always ask me, what time are you picking it up? I tell them my drop-offs and deliveries are priority. So I don't really have a set time when I'll pick it up. So if I'm not here, let your kids have fun on it. Guess what? Now they think they have an extra day on it. Where in reality, they probably don't. I probably only have 3 drop-offs in the morning, and then I start working my way to them. I'll probably be done by 12 o'clock. They're thinking little kids ain't up till almost 9 o'clock. Okay, so they're on it for 3 hours, 2 hours. By the time I get there, 9 out of 10 time is blown up for me to inspect. Half the work's already done.
It's also based off your market because all of my freaking people around here, nobody gives free overnights like during bookings, just randomly during the booking. Everybody gives it like after the booking. So I'll call people because I don't want to pick them up and I just make them happy and give them a free overnight. Now they think they're getting extra money after the fact. But during the booking and sale, I go for the gold and want all the money, like for sure.
Way too much work. I'm a guy. I want to turn and burn. I want to go. So they rent. I don't have any stipulations. I have no restrictions. They can rent an inflatable from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. if they want to. It's totally doable on my website. Totally doable. I will just go drop it off at whatever time I want to drop it off, and then I'll go pick it up at whatever time I want to pick it up. So,
Darren,
answer to your question, drop it off on Saturday. don't go get it on Saturday night. If you don't want to that late, go pick it up on Sunday morning. That's the answer to the question. That's the whole thing.
But he can't work on Sundays.
I want to tell you something.
Don't. What's the point of making a person feel like they burdened you for $40? Like, that's what you're doing when you're like, well, we can, but it's an extra fee. Da, da, da. You're just making them feel like they burdened you, to where the next time they go to book, if they want to book till 9 p.m., they're sure as shit not calling you, because they're like, oh, that's the guy. Like, I already, like, just be easy, be amicable, and just go pick it up tomorrow. Because, like, it's not that big of a deal.
I'm
So
picking
like
up tomorrow.
in
Darren,
my
hold
market,
on.
my market, I actually have to change my policy, because I was doing the whole $50 overnight fee, but literally all the main competitors, they just give the free overnight. So it's like, to me, I feel like I'm missing potential customers because I'm not giving that free overnight.
It's based off your area. Everybody charges like double the second day, or like half price the second day in my area. And I literally charge $50. I'm getting them like the extra $50.
All of it, everything that everybody said is hard to do. What I said is easy to do. Speed and efficiency, just get in, get out. Yeah, I skipped $40 or $50. Like, but that's okay. It's okay.
It's all situational though. Are you new, Darren, like to the
Yes.
business? Okay, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. If I know someone's gonna butt in at some point, because I got kind of a rant, but I'm in the middle, and I've learned. Okay, so step one, you could go in on your booking and cut it off at 7. Not that you're cutting it off only to 7, but when people call you and say, "Hey, it only lets me book till 7," you can say, "Look, that is the latest time we will pick it up." You do what works best for you. And we've come to figure this out. We were like, we're killing ourselves picking up on Saturday nights. There's some weekends people don't pay for overnight. I do offer it online for the people that will just say, look, we're going to go ahead and pay for it, but I don't push it. If someone calls me and says, hey, can we keep it overnight? I say, yeah, we'll let you keep it overnight for free. The reason being is I want to go drink beer on Saturday night and enjoy time with my family. I will tell people straight up. I will call them and they'll say, hey, we're done. And I'll say, hey, do you mind if we pick up in the morning? If it works best for me, that's what I'm going to do to give me time. But I do have it available on the website for people to say, you know what, we want to keep it late, past 7 o'clock. We'll pay the extra $60. Or if they call me and ask me, I'll say, look, we usually charge $60. We'll just wipe it. And they'll be like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, you're the best. We're using you again every time. But there's going to be things you run into like that that's going to say, what's going to benefit me more? Because I'll promise you, very rarely will someone ever say, no, you can't leave it longer than the time we booked, unless they have nice grass. Unless they have nice grass.
Holy crap.
But even then you can keep it there.
What he just said goes back to the topic of this night. Common fucking sense. What you just said, and your name's not on there, it just says iPhone 5.
David.
Sorry. Yeah.
Common sense. The whole topic of this entire night.
No, it was all awesome advice. I like to hear all different perspectives of it, but yeah, I appreciate the feedback from all you guys. Thank you.
Sadly, Darren, as a newbie, so much is thrown at your face. It's as a newbie, you could get confused so fast. Hell, I get confused in these meetings.
Darren, try the overnight fee. See if it works for you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Do what works best for you. That's all I'm going to say.
Got it.
Making more money always works best.
Yeah, this is why I love entrepreneurship, though, because like everything that every single person has said is wrong, and everything that every single person has said is right. Like, you get to do what's right for you. It's your business. You don't have to go approve it with your boss or the board or whatever. Like, you can do whatever.
I don't know. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right.
It 100%,
especially
it 100% goes back to every one of us, every single one of us, and everybody in Party Rental Knowledge, and everybody in Bounce House Mentors, and everybody in EPA. It's our own demographics. Like, I'm in Florida, and I'm in the central east coast of Florida, like in the center of the flipping state. The way I rent may not work for somebody up in St. Augustine. And the way the person in St. Augustine rents may not work up in Valdosta, Georgia. And the way that person works may not work over in Boone, North Carolina. It's all, everybody's demographics is different. Everybody rents to what they have, what they can rent for. You know, even up in Buffalo, New York, you know, I don't know if that's where Justin's at or not. I can't remember. I know he's up in the cold country, and
But
those guys are
That's where I'm at.
limited. You know, those guys are limited for their time. So they rent different than us down here in Florida. You know, they get more money. Chicago gets more money. Hell, there's a guy up in Chicago gets like $275 for a 13 by 13 bounce house. There's another lady up there I know at Olga, I think her name is. She's $700 for a 19-foot jump on slide. I'm lucky to get $350. So
and
it's,
maybe
everybody's demographics is different, and so we have to build that. But we can also take other people's knowledge. And I listen to you newbies, to some of you, and I'm sorry for you newbies, but that's what you are. I listen to your new innovative ideas and try to implement things. But when it comes down to it, we do what works for us, and our scheduling, what works for us, our pickups, what works for us. Okay, there's so many people that I argue with, and there's nobody in here because I looked at the names, that they, oh no, you know what, we're going to drop off and we're going to give our workers their family time on Saturday or the weekend, you know, that we'll pick everything up on Sunday. Okay, well, let's think about this for a minute. On Sunday, those workers not only have to drop off Sunday rentals, but they also have to pick off all of Saturdays, and then they have to go back and pick up Sundays. So where is the family time come in? It just that kind of stuff doesn't, I can't understand it. I can understand business and law to the point, to the T. That kind of stuff I don't understand. I would rather see drop the stuff off, pick the stuff up, get home early, go out on Sunday, set up, pick up. Maybe if you have to pick a couple stragglers up from Saturday, that's fine. I can understand that. So, and I'm not going to get into no argument or conversation with anybody about that. That's the way I feel. Everybody has their own technique. Whatever works for you is what works.
listen,
Wouldn't you just do 2 shifts on Sunday though, and split the work so people would have time with their family? That's just my 2 cents there.
If you have 2 shifts, if you have 2 trucks and trailers,
No,
Darren,
you just need 2 crews and 1 truck. But that's all I was getting at.
but
And
I don't
separate
understand
times.
how you would switch that. How would you switch that out?
I would have all my deliveries done in the morning, then have them do all the pickups from Saturday, then have a new truck come in and pick anything they missed, start off with all the stuff they missed or in a different area, and then come pick up the stuff from that day.
Okay, but you just said a new truck, so that's a
No.
right?
Same truck, new crew.
I'll say this, Darren. You could do this as well. You need to study the people around you and what they do. Let's say everybody in your area does charge overnight fee. Raise your price $30 because you're a 50-50 on people actually going to pay for the overnight fee. Raise your price $30 and advertise no overnight fee. Every single book, you'll get their bookings. And I'm one of the guys that do charge overnight fees on some stuff. So I'm trying to play on both sides here. Raise your price $30 and advertise that you don't charge those fees, which people are afraid of, and you're win-win. You're going to get the business from the existing people, like the existing businesses. You're going to get the business. Plus, even if the price is more, people will. I mean, they'll put 2 and 2 together. They'll say, "Look, he doesn't charge the extra fees and bullshit. Let's go with him." I mean, I've done that in my area. I've studied a lot of the people around me, what they do. I'll even call them and ask them, "Hey, what do you do on this?" I'm a local, and a lot of times they're like, "Oh yeah, man, we're both bounce house guys. Let's talk about it together." If you ever need help from a local company, just call them and ask them. I mean, a lot of times they don't give a shit, but I've used that as kind of a leverage point. Like, what can I do? And Nick will say it. My prices are high. Our conversions aren't quite where they need to be. My prices are high, but at the end of the day, like I have gotten so much business off of just using like little things, like give somebody an extra $20 off. Give yourself in your pricing that range to give that $20 off, because at the end of the day, some people might be like, oh my God, he's such a nice guy. Like, we're definitely booking with him. He gave us $20 off. Like, that's the difference of getting that booking or not.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Thank you. I
that's-
appreciate
yeah.
it.
Yeah, sure.
Good advice.
That was fun.
That's honestly a good point, because I honestly mind fuck my customers.